Neil coming through the old hairpin. Anthony is a mechanic and test driver for Paul Sheard Racing. Paul Sheard, who runs a lot of the cars in this championship, and Anthony's had a race win already this year as well. Up towards McLean's for the first time. Henderson looks to the inside of Neil, but they're all playing a bit cagey on this first lap as they try and get the tyre and brake temperatures up. Through the right-hander, up the hill towards Coppice they go. And still O'Neill leading the way. That's JJ Clements having a look at the inside. And Liam Murphy and Anthony Neil are still side by side. And now Charlie Charman's buying into it too in the number 42 car. Charlie might just pick off 2 places here. I think he will. He's certainly up the inside of the pair of them down towards the chicane at the end of the opening lap. And Charlie might get past Liam Murphy. Will he get past Anthony Neil as well? Late on the brakes. He's not going to get Anthony, but he should move ahead of Liam. No, Liam tenaciously hangs on around the outside. Then Simon Goddard is very slow out of the chicane. Gets nerfed by Anthony Neil. And that stacks the whole pack up. So the top 5 now escape. That's Paul O'Neill, Alan Henderson, James Blake Baldwin, JJ Clements and Simon Goddard. They're then 3 abreast for 6th place. That is getting very tight indeed in towards Redgate Corner. Who came out on top of that? They're still side by side. Anthony Neil and I think that's Simon Goddard, is it, alongside him? Coming out of the corner. Bit of a moment further back for Jeremy Crook, but he gathers it all together. And out onto another lap to go. Yes, this is Simon Goddard alongside Anthony Neil. Then Liam Murphy and Charlie Charman side by side behind them. Jack Harding sideways, James Aspinall spins, they both spin. So too does the 89 car of Will Picken, all into the gravel trap together down at the old hairpin. Oh my goodness me. Well, the old hairpin is often the scene of dramas, and it's exactly the same thing now. Meanwhile, at the front, James Blake Baldwin has gone 2nd and JJ Clements has gone 3rd. Both of them now ahead of Alan Henderson. Oh, and another car in the gravel at the chicane. That's Jeremy Crook, who's gone off at the end of the first lap. We've then lost 3 cars down at the old hairpin. I'm sensing the possibility of a safety car here to get some of these cars shifted. We'll wait and see. O'Neill leads the way though. James Blake Baldwin, who is the reigning Mark 1 Mazda MX-5 champion, is 2nd. Hands out the cockpits. The safety car boards are going out, so the safety car will be required because we have 4 cars already stuck in gravel traps around the circuit. If I look out of the window, there are clouds of dust descending on various parts of Donington Park. So Jack Harding, James Aspinall, they touched coming down through the crane of curves. That's cars 95 and 20. How Will Picken got involved in that, I'm not too sure. He seemed to spin out of sympathy, really, just to try and avoid them. But all 3 have ended up in that very large gravel trap down at the bottom of the crane of curves. You can see why it's such a large gravel trap, can't you? Because the cars do tend to end up in it quite often. So the order at the end of the first lap then. Paul O'Neill leads the way. Blake Baldwin is 2nd with the fastest lap, interestingly. JJ Clements is 3rd. Henderson 4th. John Davies 5th. Then Simon Goddard 6th. Anthony Neil 7th. Liam Murphy is 8th. Charlie Charman 9th. And Will Chappell is in 10th place. Now, as I said, championship-wise coming into this weekend, Alan Henderson had already wrapped up the title, but it was getting pretty tight for 2nd place. JJ Clements came here 2nd in points, but then his first race didn't go according to plan at all. He finished 26th, which will count as one of his drop scores, but still, he will lose ground now. Liam Murphy, by contrast, who was 3rd in the points coming into this weekend, he finished 8th, so he took some points back. So it all really comes down to how this race goes, because then in race 2, Liam Murphy had a disaster down in 9th place. JJ Clements, meanwhile, managed to recover to 7th. Took some points back, so it should all be fairly well settled. We really just need to concentrate on the race, and we'll try and confirm the champion for you when we get it. The 2nd place man in the championship when we get it later on. So O'Neill leading the way with 2nd place man James Blake Baldwin, 3rd JJ Clements, and Alan Henderson, who has been the dominant man this year in the MX-5 Super Cup. Has won more races than anyone else by a country mile, and he's been the only driver who seems able to get to the front of the pack and then pull away. At Cadwell Park, I remember back at the start of the year, he was roughly a 2nd a lap quicker than anyone else. Now all of these cars are identical, no one can be a 2nd a lap quicker than anyone else, but that's exactly what Alan Henderson managed on a few occasions this year, it must be said. There have been days where he's been beaten, but usually because he gets caught up in battles sort of back in the pack and then the leaders get away from him. He's always in that lead usually, and in the thick of the action. So watch for him to make progress back from 4th place. Paul O'Neill, who has guested in the championship before. In fact, he got 2 race wins at Alton Park last year. Came back and did Rockingham earlier on this year. Had to settle for 2 2nd place finishes. He's already got another 2 race wins here. And it's very good to see Paul back for full season, wouldn't it, next year? That'd be tasty. Wonder if Paul Sheard could talk him into it, or of course out of a full-time drive at the moment. Yes, 1 snatch vehicle for 3 cars down at the old hairpin. This might take some time, which is a bit of a shame. So the cars streamed through, all of them with panel damage from various skirmishes throughout the course of the year, but hopefully we'll see no more of those in this race, because we want to see a good clean race. Shame about Jack Harding. Jack Harding was part of the Blendini Motorsport Scholarship Programme. Blendini is the team run by Tom Roach, Mr. Mazda MX-5 as we affectionately call him, and he was chosen at the start of the year to be the scholarship winner, which gave him a full season paid for, fully funded in the MX-5 SuperCup. He's competed in every race and has displayed at times some great racecraft and some great car control, but there's been plagued really by mechanical issues as the year has gone on. Jack Harding there in car 95, the Lightning McQueen liveried car. He really would like to have ended its season a little bit less gravelly, shall we say, than this. He certainly would have liked to have been on the track at least and mixing it at the front if possible. Getting some good views of the Donington Park circuit though here, which is still dry despite the fact it's complete cloud coverage as it has been really since the start of the day. The sun has never even threatened to break through the clouds and brighten the day up, so it is dry at the moment, so hopefully that will stay the case. Field stream up towards McLean's, led by the Ford Fiesta safety car. Some good views of the Donington Park circuit though here, which is still dry. Big Clements there, who is not a lap down, as that graphic would have you believe. In third position, second place in the championship. He's had race wins this year, but it's been consistency more than anything else. And good JJ in the mixed championship wise. Johnny Greensmith as well. Now, where did he end up after the first lap? He's already into 17th. Johnny Greensmith started last. We've lost James Aspinall, Jack Harding, Will Pick, and Jeremy Crook we know about. So they were 4 places gained immediately for Johnny, but he's still got up into 17th. That's good going. Jeremy Crook has got going, I can see out of the window, so he is still circulating now. They've got him out of the gravel at the chicane, so at least one car's been recovered, even if the ones down at the old hairpin haven't been. Yes, Johnny Greensmith, who has won championships before in Mark 1 MX-5s, several times in fact, then went and won the Porsche BRSCC Porsche Championship last year. Now has come back to Mazda MX-5, but with Mark 3s. It took him a long time to acclimatise really, Johnny, but he got there in the end. Liam Murphy, who is down in 8th place. Liam won the final 2 rounds of the season here at Donington Park last year, whilst there was a titanic championship battle going on between Abby Eaton and Tom Roach, which Abby won. Liam went off and won the 2 races, and we really expected him to continue that winning form into 2015, but he's yet to win a race this year. Can he maybe get back to winning ways here? For 8th place, that would be a big ask, but it can be done. Liam won. We've seen how close racing has been in all the categories really here at Donington Park today. It was a great day's racing. Progress at last. Jack Harding's car has been moved, and now the 89 car as well of Will Picken has been recovered. They are going to move James Aspinall's car. I thought for a moment they might have left it there, but because we quite often see cars go off in that direction, they have to move it really. The safety car will be out for probably this and one more lap, I'd say. Maybe we'll go racing then. Progress at last. Jack Harding else has made progress from the start. I wonder. Just Newnham is 12th. Where did he start? 14th, so he gained a couple of places. Are going dropping down the order. Now, I think everyone's pretty much where they should be. George Lyon is one to watch for, number 55. Some way down the order at the moment. I think he's had a whoopsie on the first lap because he started. Where did George Lyon start? He started. It gets down towards the back of the field, George. Now up into 22nd place. Somewhere down the order at the moment. So here comes Field back through Coppice Corner. Now, fortunately from my vantage point here at the circuit, I can't see the old hairpin, which is where the recovery is taking place of those stricken cars. Well, there we go. That's James Aspinall out of the gravel, back on his way. The car is rather gravelly, and he'll be leaving lots of that gravel on the racetrack, which will go down a treat, I'm sure, to the cars when they come round full speed in a few minutes' time. Cars with a little bit of damage. You can hear the gravel pinging around as it gets dropped, can't you? Well, safety car's back with us, but I think we'll be able to go racing this time probably then, if that car's already been recovered. Only the wheel picking machines move now. We'll be racing again with less than half the race to go now, so it'll be a real dash for the cash. 9 minutes, just less than 9 minutes remain. Full speed in a few minutes' time. So you can hear the gravel pinging around as it dropped, can't you? Liam Murphy, if he can take enough points out of JJ Clements in this race, he might just be able to take second in the points, you know. Doing some rough maths, I think if Liam were to win, for example, and JJ was maybe outside the top 5, that might just be enough. Of course, Liam's down in 8th, so he's not necessarily all that likely to win the race, but it could happen, especially if they start getting into it at the front. So Liam, one to watch for then, car number 11. Oh, Will Pickett is back in the pit lane, so his car had been moved. I think there were still snatch vehicles being put back into position while we didn't go racing this time, but we should go racing this time around now, so we have about 7 minutes on the clock, I reckon. Maybe just less than 7 minutes on the clock when we go back again. Charlie Charman there in the white and red car just in behind Liam Murphy. He came in late to the championship, another Mark 1 series graduate. Indeed, the top 4 drivers from the Mark 1 championship last year have all come over to do this championship this year. The reigning champion was James Blake Baldwin, JJ Clements and James Blake Baldwin and Charlie Charman all came over from the Mark 1 series. And so they have all made the step up into Mark 3s, and that's really the transition that the BRSCC would like to see, drivers moving in from the Mark 1 Championship. Right, lights are out on the safety car though, so this SuperCup race will be about to continue, and it's going to be just under 7 minutes remaining, so not many laps will fit into that. So it's going to be go. When does Paul O'Neill go with this restart? He's got to try and surprise them if he can. He's gone now, and it's a decent restart. Pulls himself a couple of car lengths over Blake Baldwin and Clements, who are 2nd and 3rd. And there's another gap back to the Henderson, Davies, Goddard, Neild and Murphy train. Back across the start-finish line then, racing again at Donington. And it is Paul O'Neill leading the way. Now, what does JJ Clements do? Does he work with Blake Baldwin here? Or does he try and go through into 2nd place himself and then chase after the leader? For the moment, he's working with him behind them. Anthony Neild looks to the inside of Simon Goddard. Late on the brakes, that's for 6th place. He's got his nose alongside, and that opens the door. So going down through Hollywood, they'll be almost side by side. They are side by side, Simon Goddard and Anthony Neild, then down through the crane of curves. Now don't have a repeat of what we saw on the first lap through here. Oh, hopping over the curb there, Simon Goddard, but gets away with it and holds on to the position. Liam Murphy's not been able to go with them really, so his pace doesn't look all that strong. Oh, Ray Worley's gone off now. Oh, that's at the chicane. That's a chicane at the end of the lap. The marshals are pushing him out of the way. They should get him moved before the field come back towards us, so I don't think there'll be a need for a safety car. Oh, someone else is off. Ray Grimes is off now at the old hairpin. Deary me, they're throwing themselves at the scenery, aren't they, in this one? The car prepared by Barnet Southgate College is off in the gravel, and that looks well beached. Leaders at Coppice with just under 6 minutes to go. Well, let's hope we don't need another safety car. We'll have to wait and see, though. They're coming down onto the back straight this time. And it is a challenge for the race lead by James Blake Baldwin. Gets up the inside of Paul O'Neill for the race lead into the chicane and goes through. James Blake Baldwin moves through into the race lead. Paul O'Neill down to 2nd, and JJ Clements is there with him now in 3rd as well. Across the start finish line they go. Alan Henderson's coming too though, the champion. 4 for the lead then. Blake Baldwin, Paul O'Neill, JJ Clements and Alan Henderson, all of them want to win desperately for different reasons. James Blake Baldwin because he hasn't had that many wins this year. Paul O'Neill because he's got nothing to lose. JJ Clements because he's desperate to beat Alan Henderson. And Alan Henderson wants to win because he's desperate to prove that he is a deserving champion. Hands go out of the cockpits. That's because the yellow flags down through the crane of curves. There's no sign of a safety car though, so I think they're just covered under double waved yellows, perhaps for the remainder of the race. Down towards the right-hander at the bottom of the hill they go. And now they can get back on it again. Out towards Starkeys. Blake Baldwin it is then who leads the way, and he's just taken slight advantage of that yellow flag situation, hasn't he? He's slowed down a little bit less than Paul O'Neill, who's now backed up into Clements and Henderson. Into McLean's they go. John Davies is 5th still, Goddard still 6th, then Neild 7th, Murphy 8th. Through the right-hander at McLean's corner up towards Coppice. And already Paul O'Neill has closed back in on James Blake Baldwin, so this battle is going to run to the flag, isn't it? This is just what we want to see to round the season off in style. It's a shame we had that lengthy safety car, but still, there's Ray Grimes' car being recovered down at the bottom of the hill. But what's going on for the race leaders? JJ Clements is defending third place Malin Henderson, which is allowing Paul O'Neill to attack James Blake Baldwin for the race lead. Out of the chicane, who's strongest out of there? They're both pretty evenly matched actually. They come streaking across the start-finish line. Oh, Charlie Charman on the grass in the background. Look as he dices with Will Chappell. Will go ahead of him. Up towards Redgate corner then. Blake Baldwin goes to the inside. O'Neill goes to the outside. Tries to go right around the outside at Redgate. That's brave because he'll probably get eased onto the grass if he tries that. He realised that and tries to cut back to the inside. Gets his nose almost alongside the race leader. But Blake Baldwin hangs on. Now, hands back out the cockpit. We're back into the yellow flag zone down through the Craner curves. 3 minutes 35 left on the clock, so we'll still get a couple more laps out of this one. Snatch vehicle is in the gravel trap for no overtaking today. And again, O'Neill slows down a bit more than Blake Baldwin does. Blake Baldwin's using that nicely to his advantage, isn't he? There is no set speed they have to drop to as such. It's really just slow down and be prepared to stop if they're a double wave yellows. But it doesn't really matter because by the time they get to the next corner, Paul O'Neill has used the slipstream to close right back in again. There is Simon Goddard with Anthony Neal trying to get through. Up towards Coppice, we've got a quartet of cars for the lead. We've got a quartet of cars fighting for 6th place as well. You hardly know where to look. Back onto the back straight, and here comes Paul O'Neill trying to get alongside James Blake Baldwin down the straight. James comes across and covers just about. They almost touch though, and again O'Neill is looking to the inside. He doesn't go to the outside, that's interesting. JJ Clements does though. He's late on the brakes, going to try and go to 2nd place, and he does it. Brilliant manoeuvre. How on earth did JJ slot in between the two cars then? Goes into 2nd place then. Henderson will go down to 3rd. O'Neill goes down to 3rd, Henderson 4th, and this is bringing the next quartet into it. We're going to have 8 cars for the lead now for the final 2 laps. 2 laps to go in the Mazda MX-5 SuperCup season for 2015. It's all still to play for. James Blake Baldwin leads the way, but JJ Clements desperately wants to end the season on a high and to hold on to that 2nd place in the championship. I think he'll do it anyway, but a race win will make it pretty certain. They've given up on moving Ray Grimes' car, but the yellow flags seem to have gone into full racing speed, and JJ Clements is sideways down through the Craner curves, hangs on to it, and hangs on to 2nd place as well. These 3 getting away now from Alan Henderson in 4th place. Paul O'Neill with a good run out of the old hairpin there, tries to get alongside Clements up through Starkeys, but cannot do it. What a brilliant race this is turning into. In towards McLean's, does Clements go for a move on the inside? He thinks about it. They're almost pushing each other around the corner as they turn into that right-hander. Coppice now can get Blake Baldwin to defend here. This could open the door for a switchback, but Blake Baldwin again, very experienced at Mazda MX-5 racing, knows where to position the car so as to keep that all-important momentum up. These SuperCup cars may be more powerful than the Mark 1 cars, but they're still not that quick, and so you need all the momentum you can get. Onto the back straight then, James Blake Baldwin with JJ Clements right behind him. James is not defending, so what can JJ do? Doesn't go to the inside though, indeed all 8 of them stay in line, and we are about to start the final lap of the season. Who is going to win it? Is it going to be James Blake Baldwin, JJ Clements, or will Paul O'Neill get the hat-trick? We'll wait and see. Ray Worley has to move out of the way in the lapped car in front of them. He surely will do that up through Redgate corner, but Clements goes to the inside of Blake Baldwin for the race lead. Clements goes up the inside. Did he make it stick? Into the corner they went. They were wheel to wheel, and when they've thrown the checkered flag. Checkered flag's gone out early, right. Deary me. I wondered why they were suddenly slowing down. Right, so the checkered flag has gone out a lap early. Well, that's a shame. That must be because of Ray Grimes' car out in the gravel trap, isn't it? So the fastest lap went to Alan Henderson. Paul O'Neill on the last lap. But yes, I think that's the checkered flag was thrown a lap early because of Ray Grimes' car in the gravel at the old hairpin. We did have time for one more lap. So, blimey, another breathless end to a race, and it's James Blake Baldwin who gets a race win here at Donington Park. He denies Paul O'Neill the hat-trick. It's JJ Clements 2nd, Paul O'Neill 3rd, Henderson 4th, Davies 5th, Goddard 6th, Neal 7th, Murphy 8th, Chappell 9th, and Charlie Charman in 10th place. So, 10 laps completed in the end in a shortened race, and safety has to come first, so the car had to be moved from the gravel trap down to the old hairpin. So that is that. So race win for James Blake Baldwin. That's Ray Worley, who is laps down, or nearly a lap down anyway, after going off on the restart. This very part of the circuit, so he's coming through now to take the checkered flag. There's Ray Grimes' car, the reason for the early stoppage to the race. Safety has to come first, so the car had to be moved from the gravel trap down to the old hairpin. Wait for the cars to move back in. There will be a fairly lengthy clean-up operation after that one. Next race will be for the championship decider of the Super Mighty Mini race. It'll be an exciting one with just 2 points in it going into this final round. That's winner takes all basically for the Supers. Will be the next card on track. Meanwhile, the rest of the field are moving into the pit lane. Into me. There is the result. It's James Blake Baldwin with the win. Clements second, third O'Neill, fourth Henderson, fifth Davies, sixth Goddard, seventh Neild, eighth Murphy, ninth Bill Chappell, 10th for Charlie Charman, Richard Quickland 11th, Andrew Caird 12th, George Lyon 13th from towards the back of the grid, 14th Johnny Greensmith from the very back of the grid, 15th Gary Townsend, 16th Robert Way, Russell Tamplin 17th, Justin Newnham 18th, round 19th Michael Lawson rounds out the 20, Tim Wright 21st, Henry Lawson 22nd, Jim Hart 23rd, Ray Worley a long way back in 24th after he's off, and then we get into the drivers that we lost at the old hairpin: Jack Harding, Jeremy Crook, Will Pickard, Ray Grimes and James Aspinall. So that is the end of the National MX-5 SuperCup racing for another season. It's been a fantastic year of racing for them. Look forward to seeing what the championship can do next year as it continues to grow in stature and competitiveness. We turn our attention to slightly smaller but no less exciting Super Mighty Mini Championship. They will be the next cars on the track in just a few minutes time, and we hope we'll be back for that championship deciding race next up. Fantastic year of racing for them. Forward to seeing what the championship can do next year as it continues to grow in stature and competitiveness. We turn our attention to slightly smaller but no less exciting Super Mighty Mini Championship. They will be the next cars on the track in just a few minutes time, and we hope we'll be back for that championship deciding race next up. Fantastic year of racing for them. Forward to seeing what the championship can do next year as it continues to grow in stature and competitiveness. We turn our attention to slightly smaller but no less exciting Super Mighty Mini Championship. They will be the next cars on the track in just a few minutes time, and we hope we'll be back for that championship deciding race next up. Fantastic year of racing for them. Forward to seeing what the championship can do next year as it continues to grow in stature and competitiveness. We turn our attention to slightly smaller but no less exciting Super Mighty Mini Championship. They will be the next cars on the track in just a few minutes time, and we hope we'll be back for that championship deciding race next up. Welcome back, and it's time for a championship decider, the first of two back-to-back championship deciding races now. The Super Mighty Mini Championship and the Mazda MX-5 Championship for the Mark 1 cars. They'll be out next, and they were also going down to the wire. This one, though, is the tightest of the two. 2 championship points are all that separate Jamie White and Scott Kendall going into this race. 355 points for Jamie White versus 353 for Scott Kendall. First of two back-to-back championship deciding races now. They are usually tied together throughout the course of the races, and indeed they were yesterday. At the end of yesterday's race, the top 3 were covered by a quarter of a second. Jamie White actually won the race for me in Slark by 11 1/1000ths of a second. It was a photo finish at the end of yesterday's race, hoping for, again, a close encounter in this one. But this is the thing for Scott Kendall and Jamie White. It's not just those two who are fighting for the championship here, but Ian Slark, Alex Comis, they both got the pace to get in the mix. We may only have 7 cars entered in this race this weekend, but I'd say half the field can win the race, and of course the championship fight going on as well. That makes it all the more interesting. So there are the 2 championship protagonists, cars 8 to 1, with 1 behind on the grid. Jamie White put ahead in the championship. Jamie is the reigning champion, has the car the number 1 on the side of his car. He's not reigning champion, in fact, is Jamie. Scott Kendall is, I'd say, half the field to win the race. Very, very capable racer at the Super Mighty Minis. We're missing a few of the regular drivers here. Nevin, David, Kirkpatrick, for example, are not here. But still, this championship fight is going to be pretty superb, I'm sure. Jamie and Scott raced ding-dong all race yesterday. Ian Slark came in and spoiled the party. Reversed grid again for this one. Top 6 are reversed from the result yesterday. So Dave Rees has the pole. Anthony Ford will be alongside. Alex Comis and Scott Kendall row 2. Ian Slark and Jamie White row 3. Steve Dawson will be at the back of the grid. But with this reversed grid, it means that, again, not only have they got other drivers to contend with anyway, but they've now got to fight their way through. Not the biggest of fields, but still, Jamie White and Scott Kendall have to make quite a bit of progress just to get to the head of the field. It is winner takes all, essentially, between the two of them, because you get 32 points for a race win, 30 for second. So, well, if they were tied, let's have a look. If Kendall won the race and White was second, they'd be tied on points. Then comes down to race wins. So, 1, 2, I think Jamie White would be the champion. So actually, Scott needs Ian Slark to get between them. If they can finish the same way they did yesterday, but with Kendall as the winner and White down in 3rd, then that would give Scott the championship. But I think if they finish tied on points, it would be Jamie White who was the champion. But that's very unofficial. They don't have the official points dates as we go along, but we'll try and post it. Jamie White as the day goes on. So actually, finishing positions. Cars down towards the end of their green flag lap. Win the final race of the Super Mighty Mini Championship. That's the question. It's been a great year of racing. There was a time, as recently as last year really, where Jamie White tended to win most races, but Scott Kendall was really become very quick as the year's gone. Ian Slark has enjoyed his debut season in Supers, having raced in the Mighty Minis in recent years. Ian in the silver car, lining up on the 3rd row of the grid alongside Jamie. Pale blue car of Jamie White, the white car with the blue roof finish. Scott Kendall. They are your 2 championship contenders. So the small grid is formed, and the red lights go on, and they go out now, and it's a good start from Romeo. Scott Kendall makes a good start, so too does Ian Slark, actually. Ian Slark gets past Alex Comis, look, so both he and Scott Kendall have got past Alex Comis, and so too is Jamie White. Comis going backwards, but it will be car number 7, Dave Rees, that leads them into Redgate Corner. Anthony Ford is still in 2nd place. Then it's Kendall 3rd, Slark 4th, and White in 5th place. 6th position then for Alex Comis and Steve Dawson at the back of the field. Right, down the hill towards the old hairpin they go, and Scott Kendall really needs to get cars between himself and Jamie White, and then hope that Jamie can't make any progress, which is unlikely, I admit. I think that silver car of Ian Slark is going to be the man who really really, in a way, decides this championship, because if he can get between them and it's Kendall ahead, that will give the championship to Kendall. So if we finish now, for example, Kendall would be the champion. Up towards the right-hander at McLean's they go. Oh, Jamie White goes up the inside of Ian Slark though and goes through, takes 4th place. That's important then, 4th place for Jamie White, and now the fight for the lead is starting to hot up as well as Dave Rees and Anthony Ford go on a tight inside line. Watch for the momentum from Scott Kendall on the exit of the corner. He'll try and cut up the inside of them onto the back straight as he got there. Yes, he's on the grass. Bit of contact with Anthony Ford. Jamie White is pushing him through though. White is determined to stay latched onto the tail of his championship rival. They weave to the inside of Anthony Ford, to the outside of Dave Rees, and Scott Kendall is going to go into the race lead on the brakes into the final corner. Ian Slark's coming through on the inside. No, Dave Rees hangs on. Rees hangs on to the lead of the race then. Kendall second, White third, Slark fourth, 3 abreast then for 5th, 6th and 7th. That's the whole rest of the field. Look at them all absolutely together. Who comes through ahead? Well, Anthony Ford is going to go from second on the grid to last at the end of the first lap, pretty much. He might just keep Steve Dawson at bay, but it's Dave Rees that leads from pole. Scott Kendall is in second. But look at that wide line he took into Redgate. He tries to get the switch back on the exit of the corner. He's got himself alongside Dave on the run through Hollywood. Oh, Dave's trying to shut the door in. That's brave. Down into the Craner curves. Size better of it in the end. Jamie White there right behind Scott Kendall. They've both gone past Dave Rees then, so they're 1-2. But Ian Slark goes third and hits Dave Rees. Dave Rees gets sideways at the old head. He's going to rejoin the track. I hope they all avoid him. They do. That was sensational car control from Dave Rees. That very nearly went horribly wrong. It was just the slightest bit of contact with Ian Slark. Got him on the grass. As he was turning in, the car just pitched sideways. Fantastic stuff. So it's now, as you were yesterday, really. It's the Kendall, White and Slark show. And it's Kendall who leads the way, but at the moment he's not doing enough for the championship. Now, the other thing that could prove crucial here is the fastest lap, because the fastest lap is worth 2 points. If Kendall won and White was second, it would give White the championship, but if Kendall wins with the fastest lap, it doesn't matter where Jamie White is, Kendall will be the champion. However, Jamie White wants the race lead and wants to make it absolutely certain. He goes up the inside of Kendall down towards the final chicane, and if Ian Slark goes through, that will be bad news for Scott. He's going to try and slot into second, which he does, and he'll get a better run out of the chicane as well, so he might even be able to draw back alongside as they come across the start-finish line. White on the inside of the road. Kendall goes to the outside, wheel to wheel as they cross the line. Officially at the line, they're covered by 65 one-thousandths of a second, but White gets the fastest lap. White takes the point for the fastest lap. That could prove really important. Kendall's gone back through, but as it finishes now, it's White's championship. Out of Redgate, down through Hollywood for the third time of Aston. The whole field are covered by 4.2 seconds. If you take Dave Rees out of it, they're covered by 2.7 seconds, because Dave Rees has really dropped down away from the pack now after his moment down here a lap ago. Kendall leading the way then. White second, Slark is there, but Alex Thomas, after a slow start, is going with them. That could prove important as well if he can get between these two championship contenders. Through Starkies towards the second of those left-hand kicks at Schwantz, which really sets you up for McLean's, and Jamie White's looking to get up the inside of Scott Kendall. No, can't quite get there. Whiffs of great lockups as they come into the corner there. Carry as much speed up the hill as you can. It's very steeply uphill towards Coppice, where White looks to the inside of Scott Kendall. He's going to go through, I think, isn't he? Scott had to step out of the way there. He can't afford to get eased out wide and let Slark and Comis through as well. Slark now latches onto the back of Scott Kendall's car down the back straight. He's working with him quite well here, but Alex Comis wants to make progress too. So White back into the lead then. Kendall in second, Slark in third, giving him the assist down the back straight at the inside. Goes Scott Kendall on Jamie White. White leaves the door wide open, but then he'll be a bit slower out of the corner, so they all bunch up again as they come across the start-finish line. 3 laps completed. We've still got over a quarter of an hour of this to go. White, Kendall, Slark, Comis, as quick as you can say it, and it looks to me like Anthony Ford's starting to bridge the gap as well as they trip over each other. Kendall goes to the outside of White now into Redgate. Again, watch for the switchback, watch for the momentum on the exit of the corner. He'll try and carry himself alongside. I don't think he quite got there this time, did he? Oh, he might have done. No, White just about gets his car back across to the inside line, down the Craner curves, through the left-hander where the cars want to step outside, which is exactly what happens to Scott Kendall, who was nearly fired off into the scenery then. That was a very sideways moment over the curve. Anthony Ford has the fastest lap, so neither of the championship contenders now have the fastest lap, and Anthony is only 7/10 behind this group. Anthony, I don't think has had a win this year, has he? Let's have a look. No, he hasn't. He's had a couple of top 5 finishes, but yet to have a race win, and he's closing in on this gaggle. Of course, quite often we see in these championship deciders where drivers fighting for the championship are so preoccupied with each other, they forget about everyone else. And Anthony could take advantage. So too could Steve Dawson. He's not far back. Dave Reese is closing in as well, so we could have the whole field back together actually. Back onto the exhibition straight then. Brief moment of calm. But here comes the slipstream, and Scott Kendall draws alongside Jamie White on the outside. Does he? No, didn't want to go the long way round because that leaves the door open for Slarky to come through. Back across the start-finish line then, we are still only 13 minutes and 50 seconds away from knowing the outcome of the race, but also the outcome of the championship. Kendall's had a good run down the straight in the slipstream, looks to the inside line. Jamie White left a gap. I don't believe Jamie White left a gap on the inside then, but through on the inside is going Scott Kendall. White needs to be careful, he doesn't get eased out too wide here. Does Kendall play fair? Yes, he does. That's very good to see. Scott Kendall could easily have biffed him out onto the grass then and let several of the cars through. That might happen yet though, because Slark is coming through on the inside as well. Wheel to wheel for the race lead. These are the two championship contenders doing battle down through the Craner curves. Scott Kendall and Jamie White, they twitch under braking, and Kendall goes through and has the fastest lap. That's crucial. Advantage back to Kendall now for the championship, and here comes Slark. Slark comes alongside White for second place, and Commis is there, and Anthony Ford as well up towards Schwantz curve. They go for the 5th time, and it's Kendall somehow holding them off. But is Ian Slark going to come through into second place? I think he might. He almost goes for the lead actually on the inside of Scott Kendall. It's all happening too quickly to describe, isn't it? Look at this, Anthony Ford's gone 4th, now he's going 3rd as Jamie White goes back to the race lead. White gets back ahead of Kendall and Coppis, Anthony Ford gets 3rd ahead of Ian Slark, and then Alex Commis. They're all back together, all 7 cars that started the race, so you could throw a very, very small blanket over the lot of them. Side by side again between the championship contenders down towards the chicane, with Kendall on the inside, White on the outside. Who's bravest on the brakes? It looks like White is later, but the inside line is held by Kendall. It doesn't work though, so Jamie White moves back into the race lead, then Kendall 2nd, Ford 3rd, then it's Slark 4th. Is that Dawson 5th? It is. Dawson's 5th ahead of Commis 6th, and 7th place for Dave Rees. Is happening again though, they're side by side again. Jamie White's gone to the inside as Kendall's gone to the outside. They're both being assisted by cars, with Slark going to the assist of Scott Kendall, and Anthony Ford pushing Jamie White down the straight. They all shuffle their way out of the corner. It's White leading, 3 abreast nearly for second place. They settle out at 2 wide, with Anthony Ford and Scott Kendall wheel to wheel down through the Craner curves, and Anthony Ford goes through. Now, Scott had to let him go there, because if they'd have run side by side from the next sequence of corners, they risk letting Jamie White pull away up the road, and Scott can't let that happen. He has to be ahead of Jamie White in this race, whatever happens. Through Schwantz curve, single file again, but you know it won't last. Still 11.5 minutes to go as well through McLean's, and Jamie is leading the way. There's Dave Reese again in the Green Physio sponsored car. And is Jamie White getting away? Well, in mighty mini turns he is, but not really. I think the slipstream should still allow Anthony Ford and Scott Kendall to close in. Watch for Scott Kendall to push Anthony down the back straight now, which is exactly what he is. Look, sits right in the wheel tracks. They will be touching now at very, very high speed indeed, but you can see the speed advantage it gives them, and they close right back in on Jamie White into the braking zone. Jamie throws it in at very high speed, so does Anthony Ford. Gets a bit too much curve though, slows him down on the exit. Kendall had to go for the move then, because Anthony was so much slower out of the corner, so Kendall back into second, pulls back in front of Anthony. He'll be screaming at him, push me, push me, push me, but Ian Slark's there as well. I think Scott would rather work with Ian, because Ian's a bit quicker, but Ian's got other ideas. He's got into 3rd, now he wants 2nd place back, has to settle back in line though, so Kendall holds on to 2nd place. Slarky's down back into 3rd. Anthony Ford gets shuffled back again, and Jamie White has the fastest lap, 1:29.315. That is the fastest lap of the race. Now, yesterday's race, Slark got the fastest lap, or 28.7, so they can go quicker than that, and crucially Scott Kendall can, because his fastest lap was a 28.9, so he can go quicker than that, and if he can put in the same sort of lap times he was yesterday, he'll nick those 2 points back. Through Starkeys, we are halfway through the race now, which means there is still half the race to go, and there are still probably another umpteen lead changes to go as well, because I don't see Jamie White escaping here. With Kendall and Slark 2nd and 3rd again, they will work together, they'll catch him, and then it'll all kick off again, won't it? Into Coppice they go, 8/10 was the lead that Jamie White had over Scott Kendall at the start of that. We need to see what sort of gap it is now. And of course, if Kendall gets a whiff of a slipstream, not only will he close in, but he could actually set the fastest lap again. It's all about timing that slipstream down the back straight and the pit straight right, isn't it? He's not as close as I thought, though, actually, down the straight. So White, although he won't have broken the toe quite yet, he is probably extending the lead now over Kendall in second place. Third place still Slark. They're now getting away from this next trio. Anthony Ford, then Steve Dawson and Alex Comis. Right, across the line goes Jamie White, across the line go Kendall and Slark. Again, absolute nose to tail, and the gap is 9/10. Goes up by a 10th, but Slark now takes the fastest lap. 1:28.904. We're into the 28-second markers now. Anthony Ford is ahead of Dawson and Comis, who are side by side. Comis trying to go around the outside of 5th place at Redgate, and that puts him on the wrong line, really, now through Hollywood. Grazing out and have the inside line for the next part of the Craner curves, and Alex is a brave driver and he goes well here. Donington won here last year and he does go through. Comis on the inside line moves into 5th place. The old hair, they're dropping Dave Reese again now, who probably scared himself senseless after that moment he had earlier on down at the old hairpin. Leaders at Schwantz Curve, White from Kendall from Slark. Now, can Kendall get back to him? He has to get back to him if he's going to win the championship. It's as simple as that. He cannot finish behind Jamie White on the road. He can only finish, finishes 1 place ahead of him. He needs the fastest lap as well, which he doesn't have. But at the moment, it's definitely advantage White. Anthony Ford's impressing me in this one, though, because he's bridging the gap now. Look, he's pulled away from Dawson and Comis as they fought, and he's closing back in on the leading trio. He could yet have a part to play in all of this. Down the straight they come towards the chicane. Clark not quite close enough to push Kendall this time down the back straight. Oh, and Dawson's got back ahead of Comis. So Dawson's back into 5th place now. It's Comis down to 6th. Out of the chicane across the start finish line now. The lead gap was 0.908. Now it is 0.880, and Kendall gets the fastest lap back. 1:28.787. It's going to come down to the fastest lap, isn't it? I can just see it happening now. Comis goes for 5th up the inside of Steve Dawson again, like he did a lap ago, and makes it stick again. The Kendall there, confirmation, has the fastest lap back again, 1:28.787. He took a 10th out of Jamie White that time as well. Jamie also set a personal best lap, which would have been enough for the fastest lap until Kendall went and improved even further. Steve Dawson gets a wheel on the grass there as he comes through Hollywood, and then gets sideways again through the Craner curves. Slark in 3rd place. What role will he play in all of this as well? 7 minutes and 10 seconds still to go. Right, 5th place between Alex Comis and Steve Dawson. Might just have a go. Breaks into the trains, he's a bit too far back, I think. Yep, didn't decide to go for that move. Comis then keeping him at bay. What's going on at the front? Is that gap continuing to shrink? I think it might be. So fractionally between White and Kendall, and then eventually Kendall gets to the stage where he's close enough to get a real slipstream, and then all of a sudden the gap will disappear. Could even set an even quicker lap time this time, could Scott. Over the humps next to the exhibition centre, down the exhibition straight towards the Robert chicane. Comis keeping Steve Dawson at bay for the time being. Dave Reese is catching back up as well, though. Right, leads coming back through. Gap was 0.880. At the end of the 9th lap, it's 0.815. Comes down fractionally, but not much. They're really running away now from Anthony Ford, though. And Alex Comis' shot at the race win's gone as well. I think he's down in 5th place then, so he's ahead of Steve Dawson, but he's quite a long way behind the leading group, really. Gap came down ever so slightly, less than a 1/10 of a second that time between White and Kendall. It's all just calmed down, but you do get the sense it's building, don't you, to a bit of a climax, this one. Slark was involved in the championship side of the Mighty Wings here last year, and that was decided on the very last lap, and he played a pivotal role in that as well, as a bit of a spoiler. Now he'd like to get up there, and he wouldn't like necessarily to mess up the championship, but he'd like to get himself a race win. That would be his target, or a 2nd place if he can't. At the moment, if Kendall could get past White, he would be the champion, because he has that all-important 2 points for the fastest lap. He's just got to get past Jamie White, which is a lot easier said than done. Right, out of Coppice, onto the straight. White is good through Coppice, isn't he? He manages to pull the gap out again. Kendall is not getting the assist from Slark. Slark is that 1/4 of a second behind him. That looked like 8/10 of a second to you. It doesn't to me. I think that's smaller than it's been for several laps. 5 minutes to go. 1/4 of the race still remains then. Back onto the pit straight they go. And the gap is now 1.684, down by just over a tenth there, a tenth and a half that time, and that's getting well within slipstreaming range now as well for Kendall. Late on the brakes into Redgate corner, he's giving it his all here. You can just see in the attitude of the car, it's moving around a lot, but he's not, touch wood, making any mistakes, is he? He's keeping it on the island, but only just right on the ragged edge. He's pulling away from Ian Slark, and that's a very difficult thing to do. So that shows how quickly he's going. Anthony Ford's still 4th, Comis is still 5th, Dawson is still 6th, and Reese is still 7th. Reese is now only a second behind Dawson though, so he could get himself out of the bottom position as well if he gets a move on. Maybe White leading the way through Schwant's curve. Scott Kendall is still, I'd say, a danger to him here. Can't count Scott out. Tenacious driver is Scott. Jamie, he took advantage of Jamie having engine problems at Cadwell Park, which meant that he only scored 3 points all weekend. Granted, they were counted as 2 drop scores, but Scott Kendall has more points to drop, which is why he's actually 2 points behind in the championship when the drop scores are taken into account. Drivers dropped their 2 worst scores from 14 rounds. This is the 14th round, and now look, Slark is closer to Kendall than Kendall is to White. Lead gap, I'd say, for the first time in a while has gone up this time. Is it enough to maybe take the fastest lap back for Jamie White? If it is, that'd be impressive because he has done it without a slipstream. Let's have a look. No, it's not the new fastest lap. The gap does go back out again by, well, less than a tenth. It's 3/4 of a second now between first and second. What happened is Slark put in a good lap. He was quicker than the pair of them, and is now right back on the tail of Scott Kendall. Down through Hollywood then. What can Kendall do? He's running out of time now, 3 minutes to go. So I reckon this and 2 more laps maybe. It's going to be close, isn't it? White throws the car sideways down through the old hairpin. Kendall says there, just under 4/10 of a second ahead of Ian Slark. Hence this, isn't it? This looks like a good lap though from Kendall. He's certainly pulling away from Slarky again. Is he catching Jamie White? Possibly behind. Just called clips of Alex Comis and Steve Dawson still locked in combat. 1.3 seconds now ahead of Dave Reese though, so Dave is not able to close in. Into Coppice corner. Onto the straight. Can Kendall get a slipstream this time around? He's so frustrating. He's about 7 or 8 tenths back every time. It's not quite close enough to get that draft, is it? They'll be getting a little bit of it, but not all that much. Out to hit the brakes into the chicane. We are going to get 2 more laps out of this one. 2 more laps to go this time. There's no reason for them to throw this checker flag early in this one and catch everyone out. So 2 more laps to go. Jamie White back to Scott Kendall was 0.777. It's now 0.746. Personal best lap for Ian Slark in 3rd. 128.822. Gap came back down fractionally, not much, but it's the right way anyway, at least as far as Scott Kendall's concerned. All lapping so evenly though. White did a 28.9, Kendall a 28.8, Slark a 28.8, all within a few hundredths of each other. But Slark was again the quickest of the 3 that time around. He's now starting to look like he might even attack Scott Kendall. Kendall's watching his mirrors and that's slowing him down. So now Jamie White's getting away. Stark's going to push him, is he, through Starkies and Schwants? Yes, he is. He's trying to find a way through, but in doing so, Kendall's just moving in front of him and saying, go on then, you push me along, that'll help me. Doesn't mean he arrives at McLean's a couple of miles now quicker than he has done on previous occasions. That time around, he's now starting back out of the corner towards Coppice. White pulling back away now in race lead. Looks as though he might have done enough at the moment to wrap up the title. He's got 1 more lap to survive, but I just don't know whether Scott Kendall can get there. Ian Slark is there with him, and yes, look at the waving there, the hand gestures from Scott Kendall waving to Ian Slark to push him, to help him. Slark isn't really close enough coming out of the chicane to do that. I reckon this gap is bigger now than it's been for a while. It was 0.746, it's now 1.113, so it goes up over a second now, 1.1 seconds, and a slowish lap for Scott Kendall, and Slark is going for 2nd place, and he gets 2nd place at Redgate. Kendall's going to have to try and fight back on the inside on the exit of the corner, but this is scuppering his chances of the championship. They lean on each other, make a bit of contact on the exit, but through will go Scott Kendall again, does he? Slark's hanging tough on the outside though. Slark is going to try try and hang on through the trainer curves for the final time. Over the curb, the car steps out. Kendall hangs on. Oh, more contact. They're both off. They're both off. Scott Kendall is off. So too is Ian Slark. Kendall, I think, saved it, but Slark is in the gravel and stuck. Ian Slark is out of the race, and Scott Kendall, did he carry on? There's Jamie White. Where is Scott Kendall? Is he still in second place? Yes, he is. How on earth did Scott Kendall save that? That was a huge moment at the bottom of the hill. I don't think he was best impressed with Ian Slark getting involved there, but it's now handed the championship on a plate to Jamie White. Jamie White turns his way through Coppice Corner. There is Scott Kendall in second place. Anthony Ford is going to get, I think, his first podium of the year as well. There is Ian Slark. He won't be happy with that either, but the car shouldn't be too badly damaged after that one. But Jamie White is coming down towards the Roberts chicane, and he is going to be not only the race winner in both of the Super Mighty Mini races here at Donington Park, but he is also the 2015 BRSCC Super Mighty Mini champion. Jamie White wins the race and wins the championship in style. Scott Kendall is a fighting second, but it's not enough for the title. Anthony Ford will just about hold on to third, but I tell you what, Alex Commis and Steve Dawson were coming quickly at the end, weren't they? Ford is third, Commis fourth, Dawson is fifth, Dave Rees will be sixth, and Ian Slark will be a non-finisher. Another dramatic race. I said it was going to be dramatic. It was a title decider. Racing was exciting anyway, and now we have one more championship decider coming up next as well. The Mazda MX-5 Championship for the Mark 1 cars. That will be a championship that's decided in the next half hour or so. Those cars will be out on track next. But, Jamie White is on his way back to the pit lane as a race winner and a champion again in the Super Mighty Mini Championship. But I tell you what, he really had to work for it this time. It's been a very hard fought season, one of the most competitive in a long time for the Super Mighty Mini Championship. Yes, there have been small grids on occasions, but the quality of the racing cannot be argued with. So let's take a look at the result then. Jamie White does the win, with Scott Kendall 2.7 seconds back from him at the end after that contact with Ian Slark. Anthony Ford is third, Alex Commis is fourth, Steve Dawson's fifth, Dave Rees is sixth, and Ian Slark is classified seventh, but effectively was a non-finisher as he went off into the gravel at the old hairpin. So those cars head back into the paddock. We have a little bit of clean-up to be done to get Ian Slark's car out of the gravel before the next race can kick off. So, hard-working British marshals, the volunteer marshals, the best in the world, they are the British ones. They will have work to do, as they have done quite a lot of work to do, especially those positioned down at the old hairpin. And there is Ian Slark's car, which is buried well and truly in the gravel trap, but I don't think it's too badly damaged. There was a bit of contact, and it was just a high-speed spin into the gravel, so I don't think it even popped the tyres off the rims, did it? I think the car is still well and truly okay, and Ian will be back next year, I'm sure. So, the final round of the Super Mighty Minis does not disappoint. Just as exciting as you would expect, and forward to seeing what they can do next year, hopefully with bigger grids. Quality of racing will improve even more. Mazda's out next though. That's the Mazda MX-5 Championship, their title decider, will be the next action out on the circuit. So the final round of the Super Mighty Minis does not disappoint. Just as exciting as you would expect. And forward to seeing what they can do next year, hopefully with bigger grids. Quality of racing will improve even more. Mazda's out next though. That's the Mazda MX-5 Championship, their title decider, will be the next action out on the circuit. So the final round of the Super Mighty Minis does not disappoint. Just as exciting as you would expect. And forward to seeing what they can do next year, hopefully with bigger grids. Quality of racing will improve even more. Mazda's out next though. That's the Mazda MX-5 Championship, their title decider, will be the next action out on the circuit. So the final round of Super Mighty Minis does not disappoint. Just as exciting as you would expect. And forward to seeing what they can do next year, hopefully with bigger grids. Quality of racing will improve even more. Mazda's out next though. That's the Mazda MX-5 Championship, their title decider, will be the next action out on the circuit. Green flag lap underway then for the championship decider in the Mazda MX-5 Championship. This should be good. I'll run you through the grid in a moment, but the championship situation is exceptionally close. Coming into this weekend, we had 5 drivers in contention. It's now sort of boiled down to 3 of them. Darren Lewis, Brian Chandler and Ben Took, all still fighting for the top positions in the championship. And after the first race yesterday, it all tightened up again, but Sam Smith was thrown out of the equation when he was disqualified from the race. So too was Simon Baldwin when he had a bad result. Then we had a race this morning which Brian Chandler won. Darren Lewis was in 3rd place, which means that Chandler, who was already 4 points ahead of Darren Lewis, extended the margin, by my reckoning, by another 4 points. So he should now be 8 points clear of Darren Lewis. Except Darren got the fastest lap, didn't he? So made that 6 points. Made that 6 points clear of Darren. So it will all come down to this race. We'll try and keep up to date with that as the race goes on, but knowing what these Mazda MX-5 races are like, that might not be easy. Running through the grid quickly then, it's Brian Chandler on pole. It's the result of the first race anyway. Sorry, the second race. Brian Chandler on pole, Ben Took alongside. Darren Lewis is 3rd, and Ben Short is 4th. Richard Breland is 5th. James Harris is 6th. Paul Bishop 7th. Martin Tolley 8th. Simon Goddard 9th, and Paul Tucker is 10th. Then John Hughes 11th and Paul Bateman 12th. Adam Bassell is 13th and Clyde Powell's 14th. Gary Hufford 15th and Ollie Allwood 16th. Adam Craig 17th, Harry Dean 18th. Simon Wood is 19th and Michael Fisk 20th. And outside the top 20, Michael Close is 21st, 22nd David Henderson, 23rd Michael Lawson and 24th Paul Maguire. Then the 5 drivers who were promoted from the B race for finishing top 5. Sam Smith, watch for him to move through from the back. Josh Jackson, Steve Craggs, Roger Chanot and Chris Hart. All of those should move forward. Certainly Sam Smith, though. I'd expect to see him in the top 10 by the end of the race. So here we go then. 30-second board is held aloft on the starting gantry. Get ready for 20 minutes of Mazda MX-5 action with a championship to be decided as well between Brian Chandler, Ben Took and Darren Lewis. Watch for the lights to come on red. The 5-second board goes out first though. And when it goes in, the red lights will be illuminated, which happens in the top 10 by the end of the race. Now, and the lights go out. So here we go then. Now, and away we go. Good start from Brian Chandler from pole position. Ben Took's a bit slow away. Comes down immediately to defend from Darren Lewis, who slots into 3rd place. Good start from Ben Short as well in the number 14 car on the outside. But Chandler was like a rocket ship away from the line. Sweeps out to the outside, and he holds the race lead comfortably through red gate. There's a bit of shuffling further back, though. Oh, no, a spin for Richard Breland. A sprint for Richard Breland, the 81 car, who had made a good start. Some of the cars have to take to the gravel to avoid him, including Paul Bateman, I noticed. But look at the lead for Brian Chandler. Brian Chandler's a country mile ahead of the rest of the pack as they make their way through the Crane Curves for the first time. Hold your breath as everyone gets through here safely. We've seen incidents here already today, but they are all through. Sam Smith has passed about 10 cars already, I can see, in the bright pink number 31 car coming from the back of the field. He was disqualified from the first A race, but he was a championship contender before this weekend. Chandler leads the way. Took and Short are side by side for second. It's Took that goes through. Short slips into 3rd place then. Lewis is 4th. Chandler up the road. I really don't see how they're going to catch him here. That is then James Harris behind them from the 37 car, and Martin Tolley next up, and in the next pack of cars coming through. The other question here is whether Ben Took can get second in the championship away from Brian Chandler, from Darren Lewis as well. It's unlikely, perhaps, if they finish next to each other on the road, but for the cars between them, it could happen. Took at the moment is 2nd, and Lewis is 4th. Through the chicane then for the first time at the end of the opening lap. Brian Chandler's lead is a very handsome one indeed. He crosses the line, then we wait and wait and wait for Ben Took. He's 2.3 seconds back. 2.3 seconds the lead at the end of 1 lap. That's remarkable. Martin Tolley has now caught the lead group though, as Darren Lewis goes for 3rd. Darren Lewis was looking for 3rd on the inside into red gate. Did he make it stick? No, he didn't. I look out the window, I can see he didn't. There's Sam Smith. Now he is 15th place. 15th place on the grid from 25th. 10 cars passed in 1 lap. That's fantastic. And he's already started to pick more of them off on this lap by the looks of it. So Sam Smith is carving through the field like that proverbial hot knife through butter. And a top 10 finish is surely beckoning for him. At least he may even get to top 5. Depending on how quickly he gets past the next 5 or 6 cars, that may be doable. Next target for him is Clyde Powell's in the number 18 car. 15th place. He's a bit slower, but through Starkey's there. Meanwhile, at the front, it's all kicking off, isn't it? Darren Lewis is third, but fourth place, I think, is now James Harris. I think we've had some changes towards the sharp end of the field there. Sam Smith in behind Clyde Powell's then up towards the right hand at the top of the hill, Copper's corner. Not yet making another move on this lap then is Sam. Mr. Straighty now does get alongside Clyde Powell. Meanwhile, look what's going on up in front, because Ben Short is going up the inside of James Harris. That's for fourth place, and he makes it stick. Then Martin Tolley is in there as well. So someone's dropped down the order, haven't they? They've got the number 68 car in there as well. That is Paul Tucker having a good run. Across the line then, Chandler leads the way, but Ben Tuck sets the fastest lap, and he's now only 2.1 seconds back. On that lap, he was 2/10 quicker than Brian Chandler, and he's taking Darren Lewis with him. 1:26.021 compares with the 25.1 that Darren did in the second race, so he can go quicker than that. Down the hill though, top three breaking away, then they're pairing off for fourth, and then fifth on back is anyone's guess. It's Tolley at the moment in fifth, sorry, sixth, but then Tucker, Goddard, and that's Bassell. That's Bassell, Adam Bassell from 13th on the grid in the blue and yellow car. There, 1:129, pushing Simon Goddard up the hill. And he's got himself into the top 10 now, 9th place. Rounding out the top 10 is John Hughes. It's a dark coloured car next in line. In the plane then, 16 minutes and 10 seconds remain. 2.5 laps completed. There's Adam Bassell looking to the inside of Simon Goddard into Coppice. No, nothing doing. Covered. Simon's been won on mileage this weekend, hasn't he? He was out in the Mark 3 races as well, the SuperCup races, plus 3 Mark 1 races, 6 races straight away, and then you add in the practice and qualifying sessions. He's done a lot of laps of Donington Park this weekend, Simon Goddard. Bassell now though coming under pressure from Hughes. Look, John Hughes tries to go around the outside into the chicane, but can't do it. Simon Goddard gets up ahead of Paul Tucker. Tucker was slow out of the chicane, and Bassell goes through, and John Hughes goes through as well. So that little mistake when you're in a pack of cars like that can lose you several positions. How's this all going to sort itself out? John Hughes is now at the inside of Adam Bassell. Look, he's going to go through, is he? Oh, he's sideways. Hughes is sideways. The car flicks back the other way. There's a bit of contact with Paul Tucker. Bassell ends up on the grass, and look who's coming. It's Sam Smith. Sam Smith is now 13th place, so 2 places gained that lap, and now he's closing in on this almighty tussle in front of him. He would like to get through this nice and quickly. He needs to do it safely as well. Now on the brakes, took up the inside of Bassell, clips the curb, drifts out wide. Bassell's on the grass, coming out of the old hairpin, bounces his way back onto the track. They're 3 abreast, and here comes Sam Smith. Oh, on the grass for the 101 car, that's Simon Woods, and Sam Smith gets past him. Now he's pushing Adam Bassell up towards the right-hander at McLean's. He's on the outside line though of Paul Tucker, who now gets sideways through the corner. Smith fights his way back to the inside, goes to the inside of the pair of them towards Coppice. He'll certainly get Bassell, and I think he'll get Paul Tucker as well. That was beautifully done by Sam Smith to get past that lot, because they really were starting to get a little bit dicey around him, but he picked his way through it nice and cleanly. But now he's got some real estate to try and bridge to get up to the 10th place car, John Hughes. Well, this has been a fantastic drive. Now 11th place I make that for Sam Smith, maybe 10th, wait and see. Across the line go the leaders, and the lead gap continues to come down, by the way. Ben Tuck is bringing Darren Lewis with him, and he's only 1.3 seconds behind the leader now with another personal best. He managed to take another 3/10 out of Chandler that time, so we'll keep an eye on that one. Lewis is 3rd, Short is 4th, Harris is 5th, then Tolley 6th, Goddard 7th, Hughes is up into 8th, and Sam Smith is 9th. So Sam Smith is into the top 10 now, 9th place for him, with Paul Tucker rounding out the top 10. There's Paul Bishop fighting his way through. How have the other drivers that got promoted doing? Chris Hart was, well, Josh Jackson was one of them. Josh Jackson is 26th. Stephen Craggs is 22nd. Roger Chanot is 19th. And Chris Hart is last. And Sam Smith, who started only just in front of that lot, having also been promoted from the B race, is into 9th place. That's how much quicker he is. Sort of expecting this anyway. There's Clive Powell's having a good little dice with car number 6, which is Gary Hufford. Yes, 1.3 seconds the gap in front of the field. Oh, Adam Bessel's had a moment there somewhere. And Darren Lewis is about to lose third place because Ben Short's going alongside him now, down towards the chicane. Short on the outside, Lewis on the inside. They almost touch as they come into the corner. Did Lewis manage to come through in front? He did. And I think Short might have been through the gravel there because he's slow out of the corner. And that now brings James Harris onto his tail. Darren Lewis weaving as they come across the start-finish line to try and break the toe, but the lead gap comes down again by another couple of tenths. It's now 0.8 of a second. No, by another half a second it came down that time. It's 0.8 tenths now the gap. 3 and 4 abreast further back I just saw out the window going into Redgate corner, but for now we'll focus on the lead group because this is where the championship's being decided. Now Brian Chandler can afford to finish behind both Ben Tuck and Darren Lewis and he'll still be the champion. Now, he doesn't have to win this race, but if you try telling Brian Chandler you don't have to win a race, he will go for it if he has half an opportunity. Put through Starkeys and Schwantz Curve go. That's James Harris watching there in 5th place. There are the leaders, Brian Chandler and Ben Tuck. Then Darren Lewis 3rd, Ben Short 4th, James Harris 5th. We've got Martin Tolley now. Tolley's 1.6 seconds behind them at the start of the lap. 11 3/4 minutes to go, so if the top 2 were to start engaging in combat for the race win, then Darren and the rest of them could still get there, but Darren himself is having to defend. Look from Ben Short again down the back straight. So leaders into the Robert chicane. What's happening for 3rd? Darren Lewis holds on, but they're dropping ever further back from these top 2. Now this lead gap was probably taking 4.7. Now as they cross the line, 0.521, that's well within slipstreaming race. So Ben Tuck is now about to challenge for the race lead. Also challenging again is Ben Short to the outside of Darren Lewis into turn 1. Out the window I saw that Sam Smith has now caught the Tolley, Hughes and Goddard, well the Hughes and Goddard pair really, for 7th place. So that's one to keep an eye out for as well. They're still 3 and 4 rest in the back of the pack. There's no point even trying to tell you what's going on there. Adam Purcell was involved in that. Yeah, there they are. Look, Richard Breland recovering as well there in the 81 car from the very back on. Purcell's off again. Adam Purcell's off again at Redgate. Skates away out of view, and I didn't see whether he had contact there. He was in the middle of a 3 wide situation going into Redgate. I saw that much out the window, but what happened after that I'm not too sure. That now puts Gary Hufford back to the front of that train of cars, just ahead of car number 63 there. That is Ollie Allwood. Oh, he makes a little bit of contact there with is that number 29, Adam Craig, I think it was, who ends up on the grass. Yes, it was. He loses a place then to, I think, Clive Powell. Yeah, Clive Powell's has gone through. That puts Powell's into 14th place. While race leaders will be heading back towards us now. And battles, though, are so engaging, aren't they? Back in the pack. There's car number 47. That's Steve Craggs, who was, as I said, one of those drivers promoted from the B race. Doing a half-decent job. Right, leaders have just gone through. It's still Chandler ahead, but they're side-by-side for 3rd again out of the window. So that was getting pretty close into Redgate corner. Oh, it's got close to the chicane as well. That's the 105 car that's gone off. That is... oh, there is the 105 car according to the programme. I think that might be 107, mightn't it? Sam Bailey that went off. So... no, Roger Chenot, sorry, yes, Roger Chenot is 105, isn't he? So he has been off, and now off goes number 8. That's Michael Fisk off at Redgate. Jumping like lemmings off the track, aren't they? As they dice over these midfield positions. Just being kicked up at Redgate. Side by side here, though, between Steve Craggs and the 47 car. He gets himself now ahead of Paul Maguire in the number 13. Out of the old hairpin that won't go. Look into the left-handed Schwantz and the right-hander McLean's. 117 is in there as well, the white car. That is Michael Close. And there's Roger Chenot recovering from that gravelly moment. He dives at the inside of car number 12, which is the Harry Dean car. Gains a place. He's just shuffling virtually with every corner, really. Now towards the final chicane. Careful, looking at a wheel on the grass there. That was Steve Cranks, wasn't it, who got a wheel onto the dirt. Richard Breland, by the way, has had a decent recovery drive. He's 17th now after his off earlier on. This lot are all fighting over. Where are they fighting for? They're being led by number 47, Steve Cranks, who is in 19th place. This is a battle for 19th. You'd think they were fighting for the race win, wouldn't you? Roger Chanot is sideways again through Redgate. Half a course really for him in this race, it seems. Black and white warning flags being shown, by the way, for certain drivers. I can't see who they're for, but that's for exceeding the track limits. So drivers who have been dipping a wheel over the white lines and the curves will be in trouble for that if you keep it up. Darren Lewis, by the way, has dropped down into 5th place on this lap. But Martin Tolley has dropped down to 10th. So, yeah, something happened there at the front that time. Into the pit lane, meanwhile, has come Michael Fisk. But Martin Tolley has dropped all the way down to 10th place on that lap. Didn't see what happened. But it's Brian Chandler that leads the way. Ben Took is 2nd. Sam Smith is 6th. Sam Smith is into 6th place. As off onto the grass goes Ben Short in the background. Darren Lewis is back into 3rd place now. But then Short went onto the grass and now has James Harris alongside him. As Ben Took is quite happy at the moment to sit behind Brian Chandler until we get to the end of the race, and then there might be a chance for him to move through. Out onto the Craner curves. What's going on behind? Yes, Harris and Short are still side by side for 4th, aren't they? I don't know what happened to Martin Tolley. Now, Sam Smith in 6th place started the lap. Hang on now. Darren Lewis is being shown 5th on the timing screen. I think he's been given a time penalty. Yes, here we go. Cars 285 and 23, 5-second time penalties. That's Darren Lewis and Martin Tolley. That's why they've been dropped down the order, because on corrected times they're losing ground. So that's Darren Lewis's championship over with now. So Darren, although he's 3rd on the road, is 5th on corrected times because he has a 5-second time penalty. So there he is. He's ahead of these two on the road, but behind them on corrected times. And Martin Tolley, who will go through the screen there, he's also been given a penalty. So Sam Smith is right behind him now, but actually on corrected times he's ahead of him by nearly 5 seconds. Down towards the chicane then, Ben Short has a look at the inside of James Harris. Darren Lewis gets sideways into the corner. Off the turn though, the leaders come across the line as close as ever they were, 2/10 between the two of them. Personal best lap time that time for Brian Chandler. James Harris about to maybe attack for 3rd place though as they head towards Redgate. Does he go to the inside? No, he daren't look out of line because he knows Ben Short's there. Then here is Sam Smith trying to get past Martin Tolley. Although he's ahead of him on the road, he needs to get past him on the track. I'll head him on corrected times. He's going to head him on the track as well. He slides up the inside going out the corner, but that lost him traction, and so he couldn't complete the manoeuvre. But yes, he needs to get past him on the track because he's holding him up, and Sam, well, he's probably not going to be able to catch this podium fight, but even so, a top 5 result, which is where he is at the moment in 5th place, would be fantastic because he just moved ahead of Darren Lewis on corrected times by 26 1,000ths of a second. So if Darren Lewis gets held up anymore, he'll lose another place to Sam Smith, but if he can get his head down, he can pull that gap out. It becomes a bit like an aggregate race, doesn't it really? Where you're watching the lap times and the gaps between cars rather than what's actually going on the track. Sam Smith's up alongside Martin Tolley in the background, I noticed. Looking towards Coppice Corner, did he make that one work? They're still side by side, so we'll watch out for that at the back of the screen as the fight for 4th place makes its way down towards the chicane. Ben Short goes to the inside of James Harris on the brakes. He's going through, is he? Yes, through he goes. So Ben Short makes a position. Sam Smith has got past Martin Tolley, but he's bringing with him Simon Goddard, by the looks of it. Yes, Simon Goddard in the 46 car. So Goddard's almost with them now, and he's bringing friends too. 4 minutes to go then. Now we've got 14 laps into the first 2 races. We've just completed 11, so 3 laps to go by my reckoning. There is the Smith, Tolley, Goddard trio. So Smith is now back behind Darren Lewis, though crucially on corrected times by 9/10 of a second. But now he's in clean air, he can get his head down and put in some qualifying laps, he'll move up the order. He won't necessarily know about this, he'll probably think that's as high as he's going to get, but it's worth pushing on because he can still gain another place. Through the old hairpin. There's Simon Goddard. Smith though has got ahead of Martin Tolley and Simon on this in this race as well as many others. 19th on the grid, remember. Sorry, 25th on the grid to 5th. 20 positions gained for Sam Smith. Makes his way up towards Coppice Corner. He goes. And car stopped at the side of the road there, I noticed as well. Is that, who might that be? Who we lost? Oh, hang on, more penalties. Oh, Darren Lewis has been given a 15-second penalty now. Darren Lewis, a 15-second penalty because he continued to exceed the track limits. Well, now this could cost him second place in the championship because with Ben Took in second place, that will change things, won't it? And the car that's off is number 63, Ollie Allwood. So that car is stopped up at the back straight. But yes, Darren Lewis, a 15-second time penalty now then. So that's all changed. 2 laps to go. Fastest lap, by the way, belongs to Ben Short in third place. But he's 3.3 seconds behind the leading 2, who are less than a tenth of a second apart. And in fact, Ben Took's gone through. Ben Took has got the lead away from Brian Chandler. Didn't see where it happened, but he's gone through. Chandler in second place now then. And can he fight back and move his way back through? You had the feeling, really, didn't you, that Ben Took was just sitting there and biding his time. And indeed he was. So Took through into the lead. Chandler is right back on his boot lid. They're almost pushing him into McLean's. Sweep through the right hander, screeching of tyres. Both got a little bit wide over the curbs there, which is where people are going to be told off for exceeding the track limits. Through Coppice, onto the back straight, then into the slipstream. They're about to start what will be the final lap this time around. And Brian Chandler and Ben Took will both want to end the season with a race win. Darren Lewis in third, you can sort of ignore because on corrected times, he is actually 11th place when you add that 15 seconds onto his race time. Down into the final chicane though, Chandler down to second place. What can he do on the last lap? Does he want to go past Ben Took because he knows second place is more than enough for him to wrap up the championship? Across the line they go, up towards Redgate for the final time then. And Brian Chandler's there behind Ben Took, does not move out of line into Redgate Corner though. Behind, Ben Short and James Harris are fighting over what is now third place. Sam Smith is now comfortable fifth. He's 3.2 seconds behind him, so he's not going to catch them before the end of the race. So it's all really down to what these two pairs of cars do on the last lap. The two fighting for the lead, the two fighting for third place. It's Ben Took and Brian Chandler fighting for the lead. Chandler's not close enough to attack into the old hairpin this time around though. Checking further back with Clive Powells, who is down, well down the order. Clive Powells is in 13th place. What's going on for the race leaders though? Here they come up towards McLean's. Ben Took and Brian Chandler nose to tail as they go into the pair of right-handers at the far end of the circuit. Into Coppice Corner. Chandler, oh, and off behind James Harris and Ben Short have both gone off the McLean's. They've both gone off the road. They were fighting over third place. And where have they gone? Well, they've rejoined, I think, but they might have lost a few positions. We'll wait and see. Meanwhile, here comes Brian Chandler down towards the final turn. Does he make a move on Ben Took for the race win? Surely he's got to go for it. He's pushing Ben into the corner. He's really pushing him into the corner. They both drift a little bit wide, and I think that will be enough. I think that Ben Took is going to hang on to win. Yes, he is. Ben Took will win the final round of the Mazda MX-5 Championship of 2015, but Brian Chandler is the champion in second place. Darren Lewis is third. Fourth place, or third on the road, but third will actually go to Ben Short, and Sam Smith is fourth. Sam Smith got past James Harris after he went off on the last lap, and Sam Smith goes from 25th to 4th. That is fantastic. Harris is 5th, 6th place is Simon Goddard, 7th is Hughes, 8th for Paul Tucker, 9th is Simon Woods, Darren Lewis is 10th with his time penalty, and Tolly is 11th, 12th place Clive Powell, 13th Gary Huff and Richard Green, and 14th, and Bateman is 15th place. What a race that was though. Ben Took a deserving race winner. I think Brian Chandler made the decision there really just to keep him behind the race winner and not take any big risks on the last lap, because he wouldn't have known about that time penalty for Darren Lewis, so he would have thought that Darren was only one position behind him, and if Chandler had gone off there, then that would have handed the championship to Darren. It should be Chandler with the championship, but who will be second? We'll try and let you know about that later on, whether it's going to be Ben Took or whether it's going to be Darren Lewis, because with Lewis's penalty putting him down to 10th place, he'll lose quite a lot of points there to Took, won't he? So not too sure. We'll try and let you know later on. Get confirmation of that. Let's take a look at the result though, and it is a race win for Ben Took. by just over a quarter of a second at the end over Brian Chandler in second, Ben Short is third, Sam Smith fourth, James Harris fifth, Simon Goddard sixth, John Hughes is seventh, Paul Tucker eighth, Simon Woods ninth, Aaron Lewis rounds out the top 10. Martin Tolley 11th, Clive Powell's 12th, Gary Hufford 13th, Richard Breland is 14th, Paul Bateman 15th, Paul Bishop 16th, Adam Craig 17th, then Josh Jackson, Harry Dean and Steve Craggs in 20th place. 21st for Paul Maguire, Adam Bassell was 22nd after 2 gravelly excursions, Michael Close, Michael Lawson, David Henderson, Roger Chanot, Ollie Allwood, Michael Fisk, and back at the field, Richard Breland is 14th, Chris Hart, DNF, Ollie Allwood, late on in the race too. Well, that was a fantastic race, wasn't it, for the Mazda MX-5 Championship, and that is it for Mazda MX-5 racing this year. They've put on some fantastic racing, really, one of the most competitive seasons for both the Mark 1 and the Mark 3 Championship. I tell a lie, because we still have another Mazda MX-5 race later on, of course. That's race 3B. Next up, though, it is the second race of the weekend for the Excool OSS Championships. Sports cars will be out next. Well, that was a fantastic race, wasn't it, for the Mazda MX-5 Championship, and that is it for Mazda MX-5 racing this year. They've put on some fantastic racing, really, one of the most competitive seasons for both the Mark 1 and the Mark 3 Championship. I tell a lie, because we still have another Mazda MX-5 race later on, of course. That's race 3B. Next up, though, it is the second race of the weekend for the Excool OSS Championships. Sports cars will be out next. Well, that was a fantastic race, wasn't it, for the Mazda MX-5 Championship, and that is it for Mazda MX-5 racing this year. They've put on some fantastic racing, really, one of the most competitive seasons for both the Mark 1 and the Mark 3 Championship. I tell a lie, because we still have another Mazda MX-5 race later on, of course. That's race 3B. Next up, though, it is the second race of the weekend for the Excool OSS Championships. Sports cars will be out next. Well, that was a fantastic race, wasn't it, for the Mazda MX-5 Championship, and that is it for Mazda MX-5 racing this year. They've put on some fantastic racing, really, one of the most competitive seasons for both the Mark 1 and the Mark 3 Championship. I tell a lie, because we still have another Mazda MX-5 race later on, of course. That's race 3B. Next up, though, it is the second race of the weekend for the Excool OSS Championships. Sports cars will be out next. next race is only a few moments away then, the Excool OSS Championship. They've had one race already today, won by Duncan Williams in what I think we can safely call dominant fashion. Lapped everybody, even second place man. But the fights behind were pretty tight actually. Paul Spencer was second, Richard Wise was third, Graham Hill was fourth, Joe Stables was in fifth, Steve Gore sixth, Richard Fern seventh, Ginger Marshall eighth, Roland Lewis ninth, Alan Smart 10th, and then Kevin Spencer and Ian Tam were at the back. The grid for the second race is set by the second fastest qualifying times in the session that took place yesterday. So that's in a few. Graham Hill time. Joe Stables was in fifth, Steve Gore sixth, Richard Fern seventh, Ginger Marshall eighth, Roland Lewis ninth, and Smart 10th. So the field onto the green flag. Second fastest qualifying times for this one. So it's Duncan Williams on pole position again. Really should win the race, but everything else is up for grabs really, because Paul Spencer, Richard Wise, Graham Hill, Tim Gray, they start second, third, fourth, fifth. They're all fairly evenly matched. Spencer second, then Richard Wise third and Graham Hill fourth, Tim Gray fifth and Steve Gore sixth, Richard Fern seventh and Joe Stables eighth, Chris Enderby and Ginger Marshall ninth, then 10th, sorry, then 11th Roland Lewis and Alistair Smart 12th, 13th is the Watson Domin car and Ian Tam in 99. Kevin Swenson is at the back. We've got 5 different classes A through to E, and it is a real mixed bag really. Duncan Williams' car is a Class B car, but then Paul Spencer is a Class A and Richie Wise is a Class C, so it's they were the top 3 for the first race, and of course the top 3 on the grid for this one as well. It happens. Tim Gray was the big surprise really from race 1. We expected him to be a threat, but mechanical issues, so it seemed, in the early stages of that race, that he wasn't actually able to contend for a strong result. He didn't finish the race. So watch for him from the third row of the grid. The Spire sports cars are very rapid. His is a slightly quicker car than the Richard Wise car, his teammate. And is Tim Gray there? Yes, he is. Got both of the silver, orange, black Spires. Second one, 96, just there on the screen is Tim Gray car. Out of Coppice, and this will be a rolling start. So a rolling start for a 20-minute race. Very rapid. 4 more races coming your way. This one, the Alfa Romeo's back out, then the Mazda MX-5s again, and we round things off with the Honda VTEC Challenge. Another hour or so of racing coming your way here from Donington Park, live on BRSCC's YouTube channel. And Duncan Williams is bringing them down through the chicane, and the safety car comes in. It's Duncan Williams then and Paul Spencer, row 1. The question is who will be second really, and that is going to be the question that gets answered over the next 20 minutes, because the green flag now, we're underway and racing. Field rushed down towards Redgate Corner, and initially Paul Spencer is going with Duncan Williams, but Williams should take the lead into Redgate. Yes, he does. Tim Gray is already into third place and going for second place. Now, if Tim can get second, which he has, can he go and take the fight? So Duncan Williams, I wonder, this should be interesting. Third place then for Spencer. Fourth place looks like it's Graham Hill. Yes, it is. Gets 2 wheels on the grass though, as he goes on the inside of Paul Spencer. He gets past Spencer into third place. Now Spencer down to fourth, and that's Steve Gore coming alongside him now. Steve Gore tries to draw alongside for fourth position, can't get there though, have to drop back in line. So they turn their way into the lanes for the first time. Then you've got Richard Wise in behind him, then Richard Fern, who had a spin late on in the first race. Right-hander, everyone getting safely through. There's the 73 car of Alistair Smart. Ahead of the Class Wheelers. Back straight there. This is the fight before we're watching here. Then between Paul Spencer, Steve Gore, Richard Wise and Richard Ferns. And Richard Ferns gets up the inside of Richard Wise on the run down towards the chicane as Graham Hill losing out to the more powerful Radical SR8 of Paul Spencer, who moves back into third. But look at the way Tim Gray is going after Duncan Williams. So we do have a race on our hands now. One of the Aquilas looks like it's pulled over. That might have been the Kevin Swenson, no, that might be the Matt Doman and Paul Watson car, I think. But the race leaders head down through the Craner curves with Williams in the lead. Tim Gray in second place, but going with him this time. So we've got a much closer contest now than we had in the first race. And Gray is quick through the old hairpin, up through Starkers and Swans Curve. He might have a go as we head towards McLean's, but it's hard to pass at that part of the circuit, especially in one of these high-powered, high-downforce sports cars. But Tim Gray is certainly able to live with the pace of Duncan Williams here, which is more than he was able to do in qualifying. But I think he's had a few mechanical issues with that car. He's had a few groundings throughout the course of the year. Indeed, the first round of the championship at Silverstone, he blew the engine in spectacular style when fighting for a race win. But now he's going after the Juno sports car of Duncan Williams. That big rear wing and huge front splitter. Despite that, it's Gray who is winning through the chicane. As across the start-finish line, they come then at the end of lap 2, they stream through, and Tim Gray is in the slipstream as they head towards Redgate Corner. Stays in behind him though, so didn't go for a move on the brakes. Then you've got third place Paul Spencer. Fourth is now Richard Ferns. Richard Ferns has got past Graham Hill as well now. Hill is fifth, then it's Gore in sixth. And seventh place for Richard Wise, but he dives on the inside into Redgate Corner. Great move that from Richard, as long as he doesn't run too wide on the exit, which he sort of has, because Steve Gore fights back and gets back ahead again as they go through Hollywood. Good stuff that. So Richard Ferns moves back ahead, running down towards the old hairpin. Radical versus Spire. Towards the left-hander at Schwantz Curve then. So Duncan Williams and Tim Gray separated by less than 0.2 of a second. And Gray got fastest lap on the last lap as well. 104.778. Fastest lap in the first race went to Williams, and it was 102.7. So Williams is capable of going a couple of seconds quicker, I reckon. Leaders there back with us, and yes, that gap is now creeping up again. It's now got up to just under a second between the top two, actually, as Williams nicks the fastest lap back, 103.382. So Williams gets that fastest lap back. Then Gray is in second place. Spencer will be third. Then it's this Ferns and Hill and Gore and Wise scrap for fourth place, fourth, fifth, sixth, and seventh. It makes its way through Redgate Corner now. Richard Wise going through, already lapping Kevin Swenson in the Aquila. Just 3 laps have been completed. The Aquilas really are an awful lot off the pace of the quicker sport cars, as you'd expect. The right-hander at McLean's comes Paul Spencer in third place. What's going to happen the fourth on back there? That was a very tight gap, and half second between those two. Through Coppice they go. Leaders have just come past me, and they're now 2.2 seconds apart, because Williams is into the 1 minute 2 second mark now. 102.779, new fastest lap. Richard Wise closing back in on Steve Gore there as he comes to chicane. Not close enough to have a go that time. They look to carry speed out of the corner, especially since Steve Gore got a bit sideways then, coming out of that chicane across the start-finish line. But no, Richard is not close enough again, I don't think, to attack into Redgate. That's where he got through briefly a couple of laps ago, but can't repeat the move this time. Already we are 5 minutes through this 20-minute race. Quarter race distance has been reached. It is David Enderby who's 8th, Joe Stables is 9th. 10th place for the number 63 car, that's Roland Lewis, and Ginger Marshall is 11th. Those two had a good race in the first race as well between the pair of them, which Ginger got the better of for 8th position. Roland Lewis 9th. Wise though right back with Steve Gore now as they make their way into Coppice Corner. A little bit less drag on that car, so it might be a bit quicker in a straight line. We do the rapid as well down the straights. Richard is there, he wants to have a go on the inside. No, thought better of it. Now 3.8 seconds. Not a fastest lap that time for Williams, but it was within a couple of tenths of his previous best. The battle just behind by looks between David Enderby and Joe Stables. That's worth having a look at. For 8th place, Dave Enderby is only just ahead of Joe. They head out of Redgate Corner. We'll just catch the baby at the top of the screen. Yeah, they are pretty much nose to tail now. From Stables, the Radical SR4 of Enderby, the Radical Pro 6 of Stables. There you go. first though, up at the right-hander at McLean's corner. Of course, Coppice again. We're getting pretty tight between these three again now, isn't it? It's very tight behind between Enderby and Stables. Through the old hairpin goes the race leader though. And here, oh, this is Ginger Marshall. Ginger Marshall has caught Roland Lewis again now. But Ginger is a lot closer now. In fact, it wasn't even at the start of the lap, so that could be a change. This is for 10th place. Just up the road, Dave Enderby and Joe Stables are still only 2/10 apart. And Joe, with a good run out of Redgate, I just saw out of my window, was starting to attack and maybe move through. There is Duncan Williams going through past Ginger Marshall, who put a lap on them. So that could be a change. This is for 10th place. Just up the road, Duncan is now 7.6 seconds clear of Tim Gray in second place. 12 minutes and 10 seconds left on the clock. Big corner speed, can't contain, that's insane, isn't it? That's almost more prototype levels of downforce and mid-corner speed. Planes, and here, yes, here is the Dave Enderby and Joe Stables squabble. 8th place this is over. Dave Enderby has been fending off Joe for a few laps, but Joe is with less than a radical bench behind, isn't he, as they come across the line. And defensive line being taken by Dave Enderby. They've just lapped Kevin Swenson. Stables looks to the inside, looks to the outside. He's been trying everything to get through, but just can't get past. I get the feeling he's quicker, but doesn't want to take too much of a risk in making a move here. They go through a cloud of dust that's been kicked up by the cars in front of them. The car in front of them is Richard Wise, but he is 9 seconds up the road. Man on the brakes. Not much braking, but no, it must be said, into the old hairpin. 11 minutes still to go. Three Schwantz into Plains. Joe just cannot find a way past David, can he? In the first race, Joe ended up 5th place, so he's got the pace to go with that lead. Away from this time, did he? He lost too much ground at the start. Now he's been stuck behind David by the first 9.5 minutes. Another good run through the chicane, and right rate PR6 is certainly, Pro 6 is definitely quicker through the tight and technical sections of the circuit. Doesn't have quite the straight line speed, does he, to draw alongside, but they're pretty evenly matched on the horsepower rankings, I'd say. Out over the curve there for Joe, down through the crane of curves again. Speed gap is now 14.75 seconds between Williams and Gray. Gray back to Spencer though is still very quick. Paul Spencer has not yet crossed the line in 3rd place. Now he goes through. No, that wasn't him either, so he really is a long way back as Paul Spencer. Even Enderby and Joe Stables just 1/4 of a second between them. They've now been caught by Duncan Williams. This could be an opportunity for Joe Stables to go through. Duncan Williams ducks on the inside of him across the start-finish line, and down the back straight, gets past a pair of them into the Robert chicane. So it didn't really affect their battle at all, did it? Because he cleared them both with his much superior straight line speed. Joe Stables, though, again is in behind David Enderby in the slipstream towards Redgate corner. Making a move maybe to the inside that time as they went through the turn. I think he might have done it. I think Stables went through, yes, but he runs out wide and Enderby gets him straight back again. The Stables did go through, but then Enderby seized the advantage to get the switch back and went straight back ahead of him again. So Stables briefly held 8th place. Now has to do it all over again. Good run out of Old Hairpin though. Almost draws alongside through Starkeys, up through Schwantz. I get the feeling Redgate is probably his best opportunity. He thought about it at McLean's though, then ducked back to the outside, back to the inside again, weaving this way and that. Attempted to get through. Oh, and that's Richard Wise. Richard Wise is off. Richard Wise has gone off from 6th place. That looks like it's Coppice. It's a long way off the track as well, so how he's ended up there, I don't know. Here comes Joe Spencer, though, back to the outside of Dave Enderby into the chicane. Side by side, no, still can't get through. Richard Wise has thrown away a potential good result here, then, by the looks of it. As the race leader, Duncan Williams, into Redgate corner. Richard Wise has gone off from 6th place. That looks like it's Coppice. Blue flag's been waved, catching a slower car. That's Steve Gore. Steve Gore, who's running 6th place now, then, with Richard Wise going off. That promotes the Enderby and Stables battle to a fight for 7th place. Here past Kevin Swets, the Aquila, through Starkies. Past Steve Gore then, through McLean's. Puts him a lap down now, so he's lapped everyone up to 6th place, including 6th place. Williams, well, he won the first race by a lap. Not going to lap Tim Gray in this one, but he's already 51 seconds. Paul Spencer in 3rd place, so there's a definite chance he can lap everyone up to 3rd, which is everybody that he lapped in 1st race, because Tim Gray wasn't in the 1st race, after he pulled off after a few laps. Ah yes, there's Richard Wise's car being recovered in the background. Look up at Coppice. Gate. Goes the race leader again. There is Richard Wise's car. There's a lot of steam coming from him, but I don't think that many wars have been going off. I think he's probably just lost it on the gravel track. So, 6 minutes and 35 seconds left on the clock, and here comes the Roland Lewis and Ginger Marshall squabble, which has been going on all day. He was across both the races. Ginger celebrating his 50th year of racing, the Bowlby Mark 1 that he's driving. The oldest car on the grid, I imagine. Start finish line goes Roland Lewis. There goes Ginger Marshall behind him. 0.8 of a second between them. 35 seconds left on the clock. Here comes the Roland Lewis and Ginger Marshall squabble. On that lap. Seems to be lapping remarkably evenly. Yes, they are, within a few hundredths of each other each time, really. Rain occurs. A distinctive looking car, that Bowlby, isn't it? Behind him, you saw Paul Spencer about to put a lap on them. 3rd place. Get through McLean, can't do it. There is Paul. Shouldn't take too long. He's fairly comfortable in 3rd place. Richard Ferns is 6 seconds behind him. He's nearly 4 seconds now ahead of Graham Hill, who is 10.4 ahead of Steve Gore. So those battles aren't quite as close as they were in the first race. Of course, losing Richard Wise hasn't helped. 6th place. Space the ball out a little bit. Down towards Redgate they go, and Paul Spencer was waiting carefully to pick and choose his moments there, wasn't he? But he does go through. He's 58 seconds behind the race leader, who is about to, he's just come across the start finish line actually as the race leader, so not that far from putting a lap on that car. The fastest lap in the first race for Duncan Williams was a 1:02.741. Fastest lap in this one, 1:02.779, but that was the lap record in the first race. Check back in with the David Enderby and Joe Stables battle though. They're still going at it, aren't they? But it's now for 7th place after the demise of Richard Wise. And Joe just can't find a way through, can he? Less than, just over 1/10 of a second behind at the line. Mr. Gray just put a lap on him. He kicked us just through Redgate that time. The old hairpin. Oh, you can see the front of Joe Stables' car wash out there as the aerodynamic effect, that so-called dirty air, lost him ground. Lost him front downforce, he's spinning out wide. It's slow out to the corner as a result, so Enderby just pulls a couple of car lengths over him. Nothing to choose between them, but you do get the feeling that Joe Stables might be a little bit quicker. 3 minutes and 40 left on the clock. Stables do anything about Dave Enderby. Move into the 7th place there. 9.5 seconds behind Steve Gore. And lapping slower than him though, so they're not going to catch him. I don't think if Joe Stables could get past Dave Enderby to be able to catch Steve Gore, to be perfectly honest. Be a little bit quicker. Gore Stables goes from the outside to the inside again into Redgate. Tried to sell Dave Enderby the dummies. Thrown everything in the racing driver's book at him, hasn't he? Can't get through. Simple as that. Quicker, but finding a gap around here with these high-powered, high-downforce sports cars is easier said than done. Of course, that's something that Donington Williams has had to do as well. He's overtaken more cars than anyone else over the course of the 2 races. He's actually led every lap. Lapping more people than anyone else. 15 laps completed for the Juno. Got 90 first race. That's now 60 completed. Will we get 3 more in? Yes, we will, won't we? The pace is so quick. Lapping, well, that lap was a 107. That was a slow lap. Still will probably be quicker than Tim Gray can manage. Down through the Cradle Curves. Spectacular to watch the car through here, isn't it? Let's see if we can stick with this shot. Down through the Cradle Curves and into the old hairpin. Full commitment, carries the mid-corner speed, scoops it up on the exit, closing in on, who's that? That's Steve Gore again. Is it Richard Ferns? He's about to put a lap down. Richard Ferns. 42 car goes a lap down again. Second lap down. Out through Coppice Corner, down the exhibition straight. Donington Williams, 2 laps to go at the end of this one before he crowned the winner of this race, the 2nd race of the day for the Excool OSS Championship, Super Sports Series Championship. Joe Stables still can't get past Dave Enderby. That was great. Continuing circulating 2nd place. What could Stables do about Enderby? He's there, isn't he? He's in the slipstream. This is a good opportunity now to throw one down the outside, maybe into the chicane. No, Enderby's brave enough on the brakes. Best battle on the track in this race, hasn't it? For 7th place, 8th place earlier on. Still can't get Enderby. And Stables again pulls out of the slipstream. Racing line, the outside line into Redgate. See, one of the differences between these 2 radicals is that Spencer's car is centrally seated, whereas for Dave Enderby he's sat to the right hand side of the car, which maybe is not quite as good for the weight distribution, also the visibility. Very well for the right hand side of the car, but can't necessarily see to his left side all that well, so Joe will be trying to use that to his advantage, I'm sure. Position the car to drive as much as he can. Really comes through. We'll see the last lap board. 1 more lap to go then for Donington Williams. He ducks out from behind one of the Aquilas. He's going to lap. I think he's just going to lap Paul Spencer, isn't he? Not going quite as quickly in this race as he had done in the first one. Or Paul Spencer going quicker maybe. He is going to lap Paul in 3rd place. There's Tim Gray still in 2nd. Lap Roland Lewis, who still is keeping Ginger Marshall at bay. A second or so between those 2. Starkey's going to lap. I think he's just going to lap. Williams take the risk and try and put a lap on Paul Spencer. Paul really should get out of the way if he's seeing the blue flag. He shouldn't fight this one too hard. To Coppice. Oh, Williams goes for it on the inside. Spencer saw it coming luckily. Lets him go. Williams, he's not quite going to break his existing lap record from the first race then. But it's still been a pretty flawless performance. 2 race wins, 2 fastest laps, 2 dominant margins of victory. He's 20 seconds clear of Tim Gray in this one. He's lapped everyone else. So out of the final chicane, then Donington Williams is a 2-time race winner here at Donington Park in the Excool OSS Championship. 2nd place will go to Tim Gray. That was 3rd place man Paul Spencer though, crossing the line. It's behind the race leader. And Richard Ferns will be 4th. Richard down towards the line. Here's Tim Gray though. Tim Gray coming through the final chicane. Tim will be 2nd place at the end of that one then. He crossed the line just behind the 5th place man Graham Hill. Or Ginger Marshall, will he get past Roland Lewis on the line? No. 10th behind in the end. Now, what about Dave Enderby and Richard Stables? There's Steve Gore. Here come Enderby and Stables. I think Dave Enderby is going to hang on, isn't he? That's been a brilliant defensive drive from Dave. And Joe will be a bit frustrated with that. I think he has to settle for 8th place. But it's Duncan Williams who is, as I said, a double race winner here at Donington Park. 19 laps completed in both races. Average speed in that one was 109.16 miles an hour, which is slightly slower than his first race, but within a mile an hour of the average speed he set in the first race. So a very consistent and dominant performance today from Duncan. Let's take a look then in a moment at the official results of that race. I'll let you know the class winners as well as we go down through them. Of course, Class B, as was Tim Gray, so that was a fight for the class as well as just the overall race win. From pit lane. Here is a look at the results. So Duncan Williams takes the overall win, wins Class B as well. Tim Gray is second, Paul Spencer is third, he's the Class A winner. Richard Ferns in fourth place, Graham Hill is fifth, wins Class C. Second place in that class was Steve Gore, and he was sixth place overall. Dave Enderby seventh, eighth is Joe Stables, ninth for Roland Lewis, and 10th for Ginger Marshall. 11th place then for Alistair Smart. 12th place for Kevin Swenson. Smart, by the way, wins Class D because he's the only entrant. Swenson wins Class E. Ian Tam is 13th. Then we lost Richard Wise. We never saw Paul Watson. Paul Watson pulled off just after the rolling start. That car will have to be moved, as too will Richard Wise's car. So again, we'll face a small delay here before we can get our anti-penultimate race of the day underway. Third to last race of the season for the BRSCC. Race 19 of the weekend. Very busy weekend of racing the Alfashop Alfa Romeo Championship. So the Alfa's out next, just in up operations, back in about 5 or so minutes with their final round of the championship. A small delay here before we can get our anti-penultimate race of the day underway. Third to last race of the season for the BRSCC. Race 19 of the weekend. Very busy weekend of racing the Alfashop Alfa Romeo Championship. So the Alfa's out next, just in up operations, back in about 5 or so minutes with their final round of the championship. A small delay here before we can get our anti-penultimate race of the day underway. Third to last race of the season for the BRSCC. Race 19 of the weekend. Very busy weekend of racing the Alfashop Alfa Romeo Championship. So the Alfa's out next, just in up operations, back in about 5 or so minutes with their final round of the championship. A small delay here before we can get our anti-penultimate race of the day underway. Third to last race of the season for the BRSCC. Race 19 of the weekend. Very busy weekend of racing the Alfashop Alfa Romeo Championship. So the Alfa's out next, just in up operations, back in about 5 or so minutes with their final round of the championship. Final round of the BRSCC Alfashop Alfa Romeo Championship is just a few minutes away. The cars are leaving the assembly area now. And the first race we saw today was intriguing, I think. We sort of asked more questions than it answered in a way, because we thought Graham Seeger and Barry McMahon, who qualified in the front row, would be fairly well separated. We thought that Seeger would be able to pull away and take an easy victory. And eventually he did win by 8 seconds, but it wasn't over Barry McMahon, it was James Nichols, who actually in qualifying was over 3 seconds away from the pace of Graham Seeger. But that gap was really a lot to do with traffic, and that will be, I think, the key thing in this race, how you deal with the map markers. This is another championship that has multiple classes, 3 different classes. The speed differential between the quickest and the slowest cars is pretty drastic, really. So that will be one of the key things to watch out for. The other thing to watch out for is the fight for the Twin Spark group. They're the cars in the middle of the pack, who are not the quickest cars, but they are the most numerous, and they're often the closest as well. We had a big gaggle of 4 or 5 or 6 cars fighting over the race lead in the first race today. So first race was won by Graham Seeger, but the qualifying is but the grid for this one is set by the race results from that first race. So Seeger with pole and Nichols second, so they'll start on the front row together. We'll have a look at that grid now. So yes, Seeger on pole position then, alongside him is James Nichols. Then third place for Brian Shrub, fourth for Chris Snowden, fifth Vincent Dubois and Andy Robinson sixth, Keith Waite is seventh, and eighth place for George Osborne. Ray Foley was ninth, Ron Davidson 10th, David Lamboon will be in 11th place, and Barry McMahon 12th. Then we skip back to the Twin Spark cars. They'll start a little bit behind the rest of the field. James Ford will be 13th, he's the top Twin Spark car. Matt Daly alongside 14th, Tom Hill is 15th, and James Bishop 16th, second place in the championship going into this race. Dave Messenger is 17th, Andy Hancock 18th, Steve Potts 19th, and James Browning 20th. Andy Inman is 21st, with Stacey Dennis 22nd, Josh Lambert 23rd, and Mikey Donahue 24th, that was right the first time. Andrew Bork is 25th, Jeremy Chilton 26th, Paul Webster 27th, and 20th last is Paul Plant. So yes, the first race was won overall by Graham Seeger. He won the modified class. The Power Trophy was won by Keith Waite. He was down in 7th place overall. And the Twin Spark class won by James Ford in 8th. And that was really the closest one. He, Matt Daly, Yellow Alfa 145, Tom Hill, Black and Gold 156, the James Bishop Silver Alfa 156, Dave Messenger, Andy Hancock, Steve Potts, James Browning. They were all together for most of the race, really. And that's where I think a lot of the interest will be in this one too. So, Seeger leads the cars around to the grid, end of this green flag lap. A good look at Andy Robinson as he lines up. Car number 9. Behind him, car number 4 is the weight machine. He got caught up in a bit of first lap contact, first corner contact at Redgate in the first lap, which sort of compromised his race. He spent the rest of the time fighting back to an eventual finishing position of 7th. Final round then of the BRSCC Alfashop Alfa Romeo Championship will be 20 minutes in duration. You're enjoying your live race day here at Donington Park. Go to the BRSCC. Don't forget to get in touch on Twitter. BRSCC Live. Know exactly what you're thinking, because we've seen some fantastic racing today, and it's been top quality entertainment as this race meeting always produces. It's very much an underrated race meeting, but finals weekend for BRSCC, there's one here and there's one at Silverstone as well today. This one has been particularly impressive, so hoping that the last 3 races of the day, of the weekend and of the year, BRSCC will continue to do it justice. Back row of the grid is formed then. So, James Nichols and Graham Seeger on the front row of the grid together. They had a great fight in race 1. The red lights go out now, and it's a great start from James Nichols from pole position. Not a good jump initially from Graham Seeger. And watch for Brian Shrub in the red car, because he made a good start in the first race as well. Brian Shrub, Chris Snowden, excuse me. Shrub has made a good start in the orange car. Snowden in the red car will slip into 4th place. Molino is going to go for 3rd. As into 2nd place has gone Vincent Dubois. Graham Seeger's gone backwards. So it's Nichols leading the way. Dubois, I think, is in second place, but Brian Shrub was trying to fight back as they went down through the crater curves. No, it is Dubois. Shrub, in fact, loses out now to Chris Snowden, so Snowden goes third, Shrub is fourth, Seeger fifth, then Andy Robinson is sixth place. Coming around the outside of him in car number 34 is George Osborne. He's had a good start. Where did George start? George started down in 8th place on the grid. There we saw a brief glimpse of Keith Waite. There is the Twin Star battle, and Matt Daly has got the better of James Ford. Look, the yellow car ahead of the red car. So Matt Daly has got into the lead in the Twin Spark category. Headlights blazed for both of them. Third place there is Tom Hill with James Bishop fourth. Those two were together for the whole of the first race. Bishop was unable to get through. Has a bit of better look in this one. Through Coppice then, there is Bishop, right behind Tom Hill. Through Coppice corner, out onto the straight, he ducks to the inside, and he might just have found an opening this time on the run down towards the exhibition straight. He's got two wheels on the grass. Tom Hill's really squeezing him over. This will not be pleasing James Bishop, but he needs to try and get through. He still has an outside chance in the championship here, especially if Graham Seeger in Class A doesn't get a good result. Out of the chicane he comes then, and as they streak up towards Redgate corner, and there's still some good fighting going on in front as well. Chris Snowden and Vincent Dubois for second place. Someone's locked up at Redgate. Who was that? It was one of the leading group. They've all got safely through by the looks of it. Watching the Twin Spark group as well, but good fighting going on for second place. It's Nichols leads the way, Snowden second, Dubois third, Seeger's up into fourth now, got ahead of Brian Shrub there, Robinson down to sixth, Osborne seventh, then Daly is eighth and leading the Twin Sparks with James Ford behind, and then this is the fight for third in class between James Bishop, Tom Hill, then you've got Potts and Andy Hancock in there as well. Potts in the 21 machine. Potts. They head up towards Box Curve for the second time of asking them. A great battle going on for second place overall in the race. I can see out the window too. Through the right-hander up Clanes. Andy Hancock going through the picture. And up in front, that was, yes, Tom Hill defending from Steve Potts. Potts in the silver and orange. You don't see many Alfas in that colour, do you? But that one looks pretty good. Up in front, look at the fight for the lead in class though. James Ford's got up the inside of Matt Daly for the lead in the Twin Spark class. The red and the yellow car turn their way to the chicane, and yes, James Ford goes through. Skates a bit wide though, and Matt Daly's trying to get back alongside but can't do it. So James Ford gets the Twin Spark lead back. But now here comes Daly. He is fighting back actually as they come across the start finish line. Not quite alongside him, but he's certainly trying to force James to defend into the first turn, which he does. So look at the fight for the leading class. That forces Daly to maybe try and go around the outside or maybe get a cutback on the exit, but Ford had both of those options covered. Back out onto the crater curves. So well, you can see now if James Ford can pull away from that Daly. First race, he beat Matt by 1.6 seconds in the end, but they were pretty close all race long. They go up towards the right-hander at McLean's corner for the third time. Fastest lap, by the way, went to Graham Seeger. He's now into second place overall at the front of the field, I can tell you. Graham Seeger is 1.7 seconds behind James Nichols. Fight for the Twin Spark lead then. James Ford versus Matt Daly. James Bishop is still in third place ahead of Tom Hill. Oh, well, we've had a change for the lead. I can see out of the window that Graham Seeger has gone past James Nichols, so Seeger is now into the lead of the race. So Seeger's gone through and by a second as well, so Nichols really going quite slowly on that last lap. There was a personal best lap actually. Seeger's just done 1:20.665. So Seeger then through into the lead. Nichols down to second. Oh, this Twin Spark battle is getting interesting, isn't it? As Steve Potts is wide out of Redgate corner. So Seeger now into the lead. Nichols second. Snowden third. Dubois is fourth. Shrub is fifth. Those two are very close together as well. Only 3 tenths between them. There is Graham Seeger then, yes, so he's now in the race lead. Look, Chris Snowden's now caught James Nichols for second as well. So So this is the fight for second place coming out of Coppice Corner then, down the back straight. And I don't know if James Nichols has got dramas here. His fastest lap in the first race was a 1 minute 20.007. His best in this is a 23.4 so far. But he did take a little time to get up to speed in race 1, I seem to remember, so I'm not panicking just yet. 75 and Chris Nobley's right with me. Alfa 75, that is car number 12. Across the line they go then. Seeger leads by 2 seconds. Nichols second. Look at the fight for fourth as well between Vincent Dubois and Brian Shrub. Shrub was closing in on Vincent, but not close enough to have a go into Redgate Corner, it seems. So there go the leaders down the hill through the crater curves. Big moment there for James Nichols. Yes, now I just noticed out the window as well that, yeah, this has changed for second place. James Bishop is now into second place. Now, Seeger's back into the lead of his class, but if Bishop could get a class win, that would probably earn him more points. I doubt it would be enough to take the championship, but coming into this round, he wasn't that far behind. He's only 8 points behind Graham Seeger coming into this weekend. He's got to try to keep James Ford behind him, though. Oh dear, that was close. James has a big wobble coming out of the corner and ends up all over the grass as well. Towards McLean's, they're starting to reel in Matt Daly, aren't they, as well? So Matt Daly, who is the class leader, is not that far ahead of them. As I suspect it might be the case, this is turning into one of the closest battles on the track for the class victory. Towards the chicane, James Ford looks at the inside into the final turn. Get the Windspark point. Yeah, James Bishop's fairly clear of Tom Hill in the points. We've this one all we've had issues there for David Lambourne, who was going quite slowly. But look at Bishop. Bishop's on the inside of Ford, trying to defend this second place. Ford trying to attack around the outside then, in fact. Headlights blaze for James. He gets the tail hanging out on the exit of the corner, draws alongside, to the right, to the left, can't find a way through still. Fantastic racing this. Into the old hairpin then, and all the time they're fighting, you'd expect Matt Daly to be able to pull away, but he doesn't seem to have the pace to do so in this race. So Matt is having to watch his mirrors. The two 156s behind him are getting closer. Matt Daly in his 145. Same sort of era as those cars behind him, but smaller of course, slightly less aerodynamic. A little bit nippier maybe, a bit more nimble through the tighter stuff. But look at James Ford, quick out of McLean's, look to the inside of Bishop. Bishop's trying to defend and attack at the same time. This is a fantastic battle. Out of Coppice Corner, onto the back straight. Oh, and James Ford gets a good run out of the corner. They're going to be 3 abreast almost down the back straight now. Ford's on the inside of Bishop. Bishop's trying to get alongside. Oh, for the race lead as well. That got very tight. Contact made on the exhibition straight there, and Bishop smartly, I think, backed out of it. Out of the chicane they go then. James Ford now gets a good run out of the final turn. Tries to get alongside James Bishop into Redgate. Can he get alongside? No, he can't. And Bishop, in fact, is quite a bit later on the brakes into Redgate Corner. Keeps him at bay. We'll fight here further down the order as well between number 56, Michael Donahue, and in behind him is the number 30 car. That's Stacey Dennis. Black car. Almost tempted to say Dave Pinkney's driving that car, aren't you? That's very similar to the livery he used to run on his Alfa Romeo touring car. Same car, but this is a production-based version of it, 147. He loses out on the exit of the corner though, because diving through on the inside of Stacey is Andy Hancock, who's dropped several places since the start. In the first few laps, he was about 3 or 4 places further up the road, and he slipped backwards, starting to fight his way back again now though. Through the old hairpin back to the I've just been monitoring as well whilst this has all been going on. Yes, we've lost James Nichols. James Nichols has disappeared from second place, so I thought I saw him going slowly last time through. Brian Shrub has also come into the pit lane. So cars have been pulling off towards the sharp end of the field, unfortunately, but I don't know where James Nichols is. He was going slowly across the line. He hasn't yet come through to complete this lap, so it's entirely possible that James has pulled off somewhere around the lap. Meanwhile, the fight for the Twin Spark lead is going to be interesting again as well. Car into the pit lane. This must be, yes, Brian Shrub's in front of me, and then here comes James Nichols. So Nichols unfortunately brings his ex-British touring car Alfa 147 into the pit lane. Can't see really what the issue is with that, but anyway, he's in, so too is Brian Shrub, which means that now Vincent Dubois is in second place, Andy Robinson is third, Chris Snowden's fourth, and Osborne is now fifth, with Matt Daly sixth. So the fight for the Twin Spark class lead is actually now a fight for sixth place overall. This is Ray Foley with Keith Waite behind him. So where's Dave Messenger? Yes, Waite's gone past Messenger on this lap, and he's closing in on Ray Foley, and that is for the class lead. This is for the class lead then, because Ray Foley is also running in the Power Trophy, and Keith Waite, who won the first race, is now right with him. So up towards the right-hander at Coppice Corner, and onto the back straight. We'll see. Keith should be able to go through. He's been quicker than Ray really all weekend. All the car, of course, but he should be able to go through. Dave Messenger gets two wheels on the dirt behind. That was a good save. He was nearly heading off into the gravel trap. Here comes Keith Waite though. Keith Waite looking to the inside of Ray Foley. This is for the lead in the Power Trophy. No, couldn't get there. Foley late on the brakes. Was newer car, newer brakes. Able to just brake quite a lot deeper into the corner. But then Waite carries more speed out of the corner. This fight is for 10th place overall as well. So a spot in the top 10 as well as the class lead. Towards Redgate Corner. Pulls to the outside. And then we'll look to maybe get the switch back on the exit. Watch for the speed going down through the Craner curves. Can he draw himself alongside? No, not for the time being. They're dropping Dave Messenger now, as you'd expect, in his production car. His car's quite a bit more powerful and more tuned up, less standard, essentially. Proper racing cars, these cars. The old hairpins. Keith Waite still can't get through. Someone's kicked up the dust in front of them, haven't they? All the cars up the road, giving wheel onto the grass. The next car is Tom Hill, who's running fourth place in the Twin Spark class at the moment. Matt Daly still leads that by 6/10 over James Bishop, who's 2/10 ahead of Ford, who's just 1.4 seconds ahead of Tom Hill. Back through Coppice onto the exhibition straight. They're about to catch one of the slower cars there in front of them. That's the number 32, which is David Lamboon, who was going quite slow earlier on, wasn't he? Not going again, but still going quite slowly, unfortunately. Right out of the way, may even be heading into the pit lane. No, just stays out of the way. Doesn't fall into the pit lane, but gets right out of the way of those cars. So Ray Foley for now is keeping Keith Waite at bay. Here's Graham Seeger though. Graham Seeger is now how far ahead of Snowden? Snowden is quite some way back, I'm going to say. Chris is pulling away though from Vincent Dubois, but Vincent Dubois has been caught by Andy Robinson in the third place fight. He's got closer and off onto the gravel at Redgate goes number 56, was that? Michael Donoghue, who went off, rejoins, loses a couple of places. That will drop him down in 20th position then. He's running 18th anyway. Andy Robinson had caught Vincent Dubois, but he now loses quite a lot of time on that lap. It was personal best for both of them. Robinson's lap was 2 seconds slower. Toyo goes up through Trot's curve for the 11th time with 5.5 minutes still to go. Right, here is what looks like it's been a pretty bruising Twin Spark group, and they're getting more bruising because off goes James Bishop. Off goes to the man second place in the championship with skirts across the gravel and rejoins in the lead. Well, that won't be allowed to stand. He rejoins in front of James Ford, who he will have to let through because he was behind Ford when he went off. But now he's got Matt Daly going on the inside of him as well towards Redgate. This is getting very, very tight indeed. He wants to let Ford through without letting Daly through, but Ford now runs out wide, drops down to third place. So Bishop goes into the lead. Matt Daly goes second, and Bishop is and Ford is now down to third. Here comes Daly though, trying to get back around the outside of Bishop for the race lead. Meanwhile, it's side by side for third because Tom Hill is alongside James Ford as well. The race leader's down towards the old hairpin, and Bishop hangs on, but Hill goes into third place. James Ford sideways again in fourth as Matt Daly's back alongside James Bishop for the class lead. What fabulous racing in the Twin Spark class, and Matt Daly is determined to try and get a race win here. Lost out to James Ford after a race-long tussle between two of them in race one. He's not going to let the same thing happen again in race two. Up the inside of James Bishop, they're still door handle to door handle. They made the odd little bit of contact, but it's been firm but fair racing so far. Tom Hill and James Ford are side by side again as well. They tip their way through Coppice. Daly goes back through to the lead, but Bishop tries to cut back up the inside. Ford's up alongside Tom Hill as well. Down the back straight, 4 minutes left on the clock. This could all still change around. Any one of these four could still win the class. All pretty much, maybe apart from Tom Hill, had a go at leading it at some point in the race. But it's Matt Daly who's back out in front there. Bishop second, Ford, whose car is looking more and more tail me every time I see it, is third. Tom Hill with a better run out of the gets right back on his tail in fourth place. And now being caught by Ray Foley and Keith Waite as well, and that would be for position. Those two are both behind these leading four Twin Spark cars, but they're not in the same class. So Foley in car number 3 and car number 4, Keith Waite, they're in the Power Trophy class, not the Twin Spark class, but they want the overall position if they can, because they're having their own things on battle, so they won't want to be held up behind this lot for too long. Through the old head, and then Bishop closes back in on Matt Daly now. Through Starkeys, 3 minutes still to go. That's we get in this morning in the race. We've got 15 and they've completed 12 and a half now. More than that for Graham Seeger, probably, the race leader. I think he's really having to defend now, this class lead. Look, Bishop all over him, heading towards Coppice, looks to the inside, looks to the outside, tries to force Daly to defend, but he too is having to defend from the dog-eared car of James Ford in third. Back onto the back straight again. Daly sits in the middle of the road, now starts drifting over to the right. Does he know he's going back to the left? He's leaving the door open invitingly here for James Bishop to maybe have a go. He sees to the fact that that's closed by the time they reach the brakes. Oh, and off has gone car number 86, that's the old hairpin, and it is... in addition to the programme, car number 86 is Andrew Bork. Andrew Bork is in the gravel trap down at the old hairpin, side by side for second though in the Twin Spark class. James Ford is now back alongside James Bishop as they head towards the first turn. They lean on each other, the wing mirrors get broken, and Bishop hangs on, but Ford will try and get the cut back on the exit. 2 minutes to go, and he is alongside, but they're now heading into a yellow flag zone because of the Bork car off down at the bottom of the hill. Now, Ford has gone through, and I think he got that done before the yellow flag zone, so that should be all right. Down the hill, he'll now try and chase on after Matt Daly. Trying to drop Ray Foley and Keith Whiting then. The Messenger not far behind them, but he is in the Twin Spark class as well. Lead gap, by the way, between Seeger and Snowden is now 27 seconds. Dubois still third. He's now 8 seconds ahead of Andy Robinson. Oh, James Ford sideways again now through McLean's. Have one more lap after this one. It's not. This one for this route, one more lap after this for the leader. And James Ford with a good run out of Coppice has maybe got himself alongside Matt Daly. No, Matt's actually still fairly comfortably in front. James Ford sideways again now into Robert Chicane. Still any one of these four can win it. Here they come then. Obviously they're to the lap of the race, but there is Graham Seeger, and it might not be them because Graham Seeger's coming up to lap them. He's starting his last lap. If he laps this group, they'll lose a lap here in the race. James Ford goes to the inside nearly of Matt Daly through Redgate corner. But there's Graham Seeger, and this could be crucial because I think he's going to lap them, isn't he? And it could affect their battles on the last lap too. Goes to the outside of Tom Hill and James Bishop. They let him go because then they'll be hoping to follow him through when he goes and laps the two in front. Down the hill into the old hairpin. Bishop sideways, he tries to carry good mid corner speed there and keep up with Graham Seeger. Seeger is leading the race overall. He's now lapping the race leaders in the Twin Spark class, so they will only get this lap. This will be the final lap for all of these cars. Oh, James Bishop locks up third place. Is he in the gravel? I think he might be. Where's he? Yes, James Bishop's gone off. James Bishop's gone off of McLean's and off through the gravel trap, I think. So he drops in behind Tom Hill. Graham Seeger gets ahead of Matt Daly. I don't think Matt's going to get caught now, though, for the Twin Spark lead. Ford should be second. Third place is up for grabs, though, because Tom Hill is now under pressure from the recovering James Bishop. But here comes Graham Seeger then. He won the first race this morning. He's going to win the second one in even more dominant fashion. Comes across the start-finish line, and Graham Seeger wins it. The Twin Spark class right behind him goes to Matt Daly. Second place, James Ford. Third is Tom Hill, just by 12 one-thousandths of a second over James Bishop for third place. Then Ray Foley is next up. He will win the Power Trophy. Here is the fight for second place, and Vincent Dubois has got past Chris Snowden on the last lap, but Snowden gets better run out of the chicane. They almost overlap and they go towards the start-finish line, and it will be Dubois who pips him on the last lap. Vincent Dubois set the fastest lap of the race on the penultimate lap, a 1 minute 20.107. 1 minute 20.107, so that was the quickest lap of the race, quicker than Graham Seeger had gone at any point, and he caught Chris Snowden, and then here is the last lap. So Dubois is second, Snowden is third, Robinson is in fourth, Osborne fifth, Daly sixth, then James Ford seventh, Tom Hill is eighth, James Bishop ninth, and Ray Foley is in 10th place. Had a few races today which had late twists. That one was another one. So a few cars, including James Ford's there, looking a little bit doggy for that race. So James Ford misses out on a class win then. Matt Daly gets one at least. Today. Late twist there, they between themselves. Let's have a look at the results though. And it's Graham Seeger who wins it, and he wins the modified class as well. Vincent Dubois takes second on the last lap. Chris Snowden is third, Andy Robinson fourth, George Osborne fifth. Matt Daly is sixth, he wins the Twin Spark class. James Ford was second in that class, and Tom Hill third. James Bishop is ninth overall, fourth in the Twin Sparks, and Ray Foley is in 10th place. Keith Waite was second place. Ray Foley wins the Power Trophy, by the way. Keith Waite was second. Then Dave Messenger, 12th place overall. James Browning, 13th. Steve Potts, 14th. Josh Lambert, 15th. Andy Inman, 16th. Andy Hancock way down in 17th. 18th, Stacey Dennis. 19th, Michael Donoghue. 20th, Jeremy Chilton. Then Ron Davidson was a lap down. Paul Webster, David Lambourne, 2 laps down. Andrew Bork was a retirement. So too was James Nichols. And so unfortunately was Brian Shrum. Ray Foley wins the a dominant race win for Graham Seeger, but a very exciting race nonetheless. There is the car stuck in the gravel of Andrew Bork, his GTV down to the old hairpins, and that car to be picked up, and a couple of others that stopped around the track, I think. So again, we'll have a slight delay before our penultimate race of the day. 2 more races to go. Mazda MX-5's up next, and then the Honda VTEC Challenge with the Smart for 2 Cup. The final race of the weekend here on what has been a hugely exciting and dramatic finals weekend for the BRSCC here at Donington Park. The national circuit always produces good racing, so we look forward to more Mazda MX-5s in just a few minutes. 2 more races to go. Mazda MX-5's up next, and then the Honda VTEC Challenge with the Smart for 2 Cup. The final race of the weekend here on what has been a hugely exciting and dramatic finals weekend for the BRSCC here at Donington Park. The national circuit always produces good racing, so we look forward to more Mazda MX-5s in just a few minutes. 2 more races to go. Mazda MX-5's up next, and then the Honda VTEC Challenge with the Smart for 2 Cup. The final race of the weekend here on what has been a hugely exciting and dramatic finals weekend for the BRSCC here at Donington Park. The national circuit always produces good racing, so we look forward to more Mazda MX-5s in just a few minutes. 2 more races to go. Mazda MX-5's up next, and then the Honda VTEC Challenge with the Smart for 2 Cup. The final race of the weekend here on what has been a hugely exciting and dramatic finals weekend for the BRSCC here at Donington Park. circuit always produces good racing. So we look forward to more Mazda MX-5s in just a few minutes. For our today, 2 more races to go. Mazda MX-5s up next. SuperCup. Final race of the weekend here on what has been a hugely exciting and dramatic finals weekend for the BRSCC here at Donington Park. The circuit always produces good racing. Forward to more Mazda MX-5s in just a few minutes. Cars on the green flag lap for the final Mazda MX-5 race of the weekend. We've had lots of them. Here was the count. 9 MX-5 races over the course of the day. 6 from the Mark 1 cars, 3 from the SuperCup for the Mark 3s. These are the Mark 1s, and it's race 3B. So, run you through the grid for this one. And it is pole position for number 7, Courtney Milnes. These are the bottom 5 finishers from race 2A. And they've been put onto the front of the 3B grid. So it's Courtney Milnes and Kevin Brook, row 1. Row 2 is Graham Colby and Richard Collins. Row 3, John Coburn Evans and Stuart Simmons. Row 4 is 25, Ivan Leary and 50, Christian Young. Row 5, Russ Lindsay and Matt Simmons. Row 6, Sam Bailey and Ambrogio Perfetti. Row 7 is Nick Riley and Danny Green. Row 8, Pat Collins and Henry Lawson. Row 9, Alex Saw and Matt Pitford. Row 10, Anthony Hutchins and Chris Mills. Row 11, Matt Simonite and Ian McDonald. Row 12, Alex Westgate and Joseph Nahorai. Row 13, Piers Chandler and Simon Orange. Row 14, Bruce Carter and Roman Sarazan. You may see a few cars not out there because we had a pretty nasty shunt in the first race between Piers Chandler and Roman Sarazan. Damaged both cars pretty badly, particularly the Piers Chandler car. To try and have a look down the field and see if I can see those cars there, in fact. Hard to see from that camera angle, isn't it, really? But it looks like we've got most front row of the grid then. Courtney Mills and Kevin Brent. Kevin Brent is a fair bet to be a potential race winner here, but Richard Collins could spring a surprise here from the outside of the second row too. Stuart Simmons, he was flying through the field, finished 6th in the second B race. Had we not had an early finish because of the shunt at turn 1, then he might have actually been able to get himself into the top 5. In fact, I think he would have done. So, Simmons will be watched for as well. Number 88, the car that was run by JJ Clements last year in Part 1 Championship before JJ moved over to the SuperCup. Simmons, he was flying through the field, finished 6th in the second B race. Had we not had... we have got a couple of gaps, I noticed. So we're missing Matt Simmons by the looks of it. Should start, but won't. That's the only gap I can see, though, certainly towards the front of the field. Anyway, look towards red lights, which go out now, and it's a very good start from Kevin Brent. Poor start from Courtney Mills from pole position, and he will therefore drop down the order quite considerably because Richard Collins is coming around the outside of him for second place. Graham Colby there in the green car in the mix too. Is he going to get third place away from Courtney Mills? No, Courtney settles into the third position by the looks of it. Oh, screeching of tyres, and he spins Graham Colby off into the gravel trap at Redgate. So he was in 4th place, but he spins it all away and rejoins stone dead last. So it's Kevin Brent leading the way, Richard Collins second, third Courtney Mills, 4th place looks like it is Ivan Leary. I think it is Ivan Leary, isn't it? So whereas Stuart Simmons got, Simmons is way down the order, he had a terrible start. John Coburn Evans didn't get a great one either. The rest of them slide their way down through the old hair, but there's Nick Riley in the second of the Gulf-coloured cars, but the one further up the order is John Coburn Evans, who was a potential podium finisher, I thought, in this, already 6th place at the moment. So Brent from Collins, to the driver I thought would be pre-race favourites. They're running 1-2 at the moment. There's the distinctive number 21 car of Henry Lawson going through the black and Dayglow yellow machine, and the next car in front of him, that is Stuart Simmons. That start, didn't he? Because Henry Lawson started down in the midfield somewhere. So the fact that Simmons is only just ahead of him means he's lost quite a lot of ground. Simmons is now starting to gain some of that ground back. Despite though heading up towards the chicane, includes the 62 car. In there which spins into the gravel, oh dear, 2 cars off the chicane. So more cars littering the side of the road, unfortunately, and they're in a dangerous position. That might require a safety car possibly to get them cleared out of the way. End of the first lap then, Brent leads the way from Collins by 0.2 of a second. Oh, 3 cars off. We've got 66, Nick Riley, 32 is Alex Saw, and there's another car hidden, which is timing screen. Sarazan? No, Sarazan came through. Riley, I think, isn't it? Well, anyway, 3 cars off at the final chicane, and that may require safety cars then. Yes, safety car board is going out. So, early race stoppage, unfortunately, for the Mazda MX-5 Championship. And, Stuart Simmons is overtaking underneath the safety car condition, although they might not have seen the boards yet. Are there boards out of those marshal posts? I can't see any. Oh, yes, there are there in Compass. Interesting. The yellow flags at the planes when you look back as well. Whether they were there when Simmons made the move, I'm not too sure. Anyway, the yellow flags are out, safety car boards are out, and that is a signal that the race will be just stopped, but pace will be reduced. The safety car will come out, and 3 cars to move for the gravel trap. This might be quite a lengthy process. Let's see what happened there. looking at the rest of the field going through, but 3 cars off, and they were 3 and 4 abreast into the chicane anyway, weren't they? Richard Collins somewhere has got the lead on that lap as well, ahead of Brent. Collins was right behind Brent at the start of the lap, and now he's ahead of him. They pick up the safety car. Third place Courtney Mills, Ivan Leary is up with the 4th look, Young 5th, Coburn Evans 6th, Simmons 7th, Lindsay 8th, Bailey 9th, Collins rounding out the top 10. I'll pick out, was that 22 or 27? 22 would be Chris Hart, it's not him. Not quite. We think it might be 67, Simon Orange. Old. Thanks Dave Chapman for his eyesight must be better than mine because I couldn't quite pick that number out, but it might be Orange then that's gone off, and he went off in the first race. Simon Orange. 7. So how many marshals does it take to get a Mazda MX-5 out of the gravel trap? Well, more than 7 clearly, because 7 just tried and they couldn't do it. That's going to be a fairly lengthy recovery process. Yes, Simon Orange did not come through at the end of the first lap, so makes sense for him to be there. Some nice scenic shots of the cars going up through response curve, led by Richard Collins. Didn't see where that move was made, but he got past Kevin Brent nonetheless. I wouldn't say he'd be able to pull away once the safety car comes in, because we've seen already in every Mazda MX-5 race today how hard it is to pull away. Courtney Mills in 3rd place. Well, he was going a little bit slower than those two just before the safety car came out, wasn't it? So. No, it is 32. I was right the first time. So 32 is Alex Saw gone off. So where's Simon Orange has gone? I don't know. He may not have started. He was at the back of the grid anyway. But anyway, there is Alex Saw at 32, which was hidden from view. No, it is 32. I was right the first time. So 32 is Alex Saw. Field gone off. Come across the start-finish line again. Outside the top 10, 11th place for Lawson, 12th is Ambrogio Perfetti. Relation of Daniele Perfetti, former British GT champion. There is the 67 car being recovered, or been recovered. That is Simon Orange. Simon Orange was involved in that, but he disappeared off onto the escape route. I think it is now perhaps being ushered back onto the track. So, late starter, or I'm not really sure what he was doing really. Off the road, but I didn't see him caught up in that incident. John Coburn Evans going through in the Gulf-coloured car. It was a distinctive livery. But I haven't seen many Gulf-coloured Mazda MX-5s in the past. They suit the car quite well, actually. Disappeared off onto the escape. He's now perhaps being ushered back onto the track. Down the Craner curve. So we've got 13 minutes and 20 seconds left on the clock. And we will get some more racing done. Richard Collins is really backing the field up. Maybe he thinks we're going to go racing this time. I thought there was still some cars to be moved from the chicane. There's Courtney Mills coming to stay to the side of Courtney Mills' car. Wars, hasn't it? Alex Saw has been recovered. One more then to be moved. Curve, so we've got 13 minutes and 20 flat tyre by the looks of Alex's car for this tyre-based trip through the gravel. He's top tyre off the rim. Rest of the field there you can see streaming through on the bottom of the screen. Graham Colby's down in towards the back of the field as well. Graham normally would be higher than that. There's several things to watch for when we do go racing then. Drivers out of position a little bit because of various first lap shenanigans. One in particular, Stuart Simmons, who settled out in 7th place after all that, which was quite lucky because he was further down than that at some points. Richard Collins is going very slowly. He wants to get racing as soon as possible, doesn't he, here? But I think he's going to have to wait until another lap has gone by, although, well, there goes the 66 car out of the way of Nick Riley, so gravel all over the place, but will we be able to go racing this time then, I wonder? Yellow flag still out. Still got over half the race to go, so I think he's going to have to wait until lights are still flashing, but Richard Collins is really backing the pace up, so but I don't think the safety car is going to come in this time. I think he's trying to force the safety car's hand here because the track is now clear, but I don't think they've given them enough warning to come in. But Richard Collins certainly thinks they're going to go racing this time. Leading them extremely slowly down the back straight, and well, I don't know what's this. Oh no, lights are still on the safety cars. This was a complete waste of time for Richard Collins. He's now, this lap is even slower than a usual safety car lap would have been. He can now speed up surely. Unless he's going to come into the pit lane because he's got a problem. What's happening? Taking them so slowly around the track. This is a very bizarre situation then for Richard. Is he continuing around to the lap? I think he has, hasn't he? Safety car is crawling down as well as he waits for the field to come through. Yeah, there's Richard Collins, and well, everything seems okay. I think he's just out for a leisurely Sunday afternoon drive, isn't he? This is most bizarre. Of course, the slower he goes, the less racing laps we'll get, and the less defending he'll have to do to keep. And apparently, I'm being told now that's dropped the average speed of this race down to 51 miles an hour. Which is, when we consider the second race, the average speed was 68 miles an hour. Of the race, so I'm not entirely sure what Richard Collins is doing here, but anyway, he's going to ensure they've all got no tyre temperature, isn't he, by the time they go racing. So this could be an interesting restart. He's still insisting on leaving this huge gap between himself and the safety car. It's just a very, very strange thing to do. I mean, second race, the average speed was 68 miles. Yeah, so the theory I would say, and I'm not entirely sure what Richard Collins, Chapman, who was racing Mazda MX-5s, agrees with me, is that he's trying to essentially mean that this lap is as slow as possible, so that as much time elapses as possible, and they have to do as few laps as possible, and so he has to defend as little as possible from Kevin Brent behind him. But it only takes one lap of racing in a Mazda MX-5 race for the position to shuffle around, so Kevin Brent then is the number 41 machine there, we can see on the screen, part of the Go For It racing programme to help field this year, helped fund a few rounds for a driver earlier on in the season whose name escapes me now. They were out for Rockingham as well as several other meetings. It's been a great programme that, and it's good to see there are a few of these things, aren't there? The Blendini Scholarship, of course, which helped Jack Harding into the MX-5 SuperCup. MX-5 racing is already a fairly cost-effective way of going motor racing. Programmes like the Go For It racing programme help with that an awful lot. Kevin Brent has been racing that car for a few seasons now in the Mazda MX-5 Championship. Now, the lights, annoyingly, have just gone out on the safety car, I think, so if Richard Collins was already backing them up anyway, now what's he going to do when he's faced with a restart? Let's find out then. They've only got 8 minutes left on the clock now. But if he wins this race, this was a good tactic, but if he doesn't, then it was all a bit of a waste of time, wasn't it? But anyway, Richard Collins in the lead of the race. Kevin Brent is behind him in second place. Courtney Milnes is third. Fourth place is Ivan Leary, and fifth place for car number 50, Christian Young. Of course, Richard Collins is going to leave it until the last second to go, isn't he? Or now he goes, going through the chicane, puts his foot down finally. We're getting motion sickness now. He's not used to going this quick, is he? Over the last few laps, they've been absolutely crawling around, but Collins did execute a good restart there, gets away from Kevin Brent in second. Third place is Courtney Milnes. Side by side, first side-by-side battle is for 8th place between Lindsay and Bailey. Further down the order. That's the fight for third though, which is pushed up behind Courtney Milnes, as was happening before the safety car came out. As it happens, Stuart Simmons has gone away with this group now. You can see him there in the 88 car, tagged onto the rear of this lead pack. So, big moment for Christian Young there as Simmons goes on the inside of Coburn Evans into the old hairpin. And John closed the door, sweeps around the outside. Christian Young there, biffing and bashing his way up behind Ivan Leary through Schwant's curve now. Drafting in Mazda MX-5s is not uncommon. Oh, Christian again is all over the place. Well, I said we'd have some cars with cold tyres and brakes. I think Christian is struggling with that. He's run wide there and allowed John Coburn Evans alongside him on the run towards Coppice. And Stuart Simmons might be able to take advantage of this as well. No, Christian closed the door on him, so he only loses the one place to John Coburn Evans then. John goes into 5th place, but now Simmons is alongside Christian Young on the exit of the corner. But Christian has a nice slipstream from Coburn Evans and Ivan Leary in front of him. And in fact, Coburn Evans is thinking about attacking Ivan Leary on the brakes into the chicane. So this could all get very confusing. I think Simmons is going to make the move stick, but no other place is changed. So both Coburn Evans and Simmons get past Christian Young on this lap then, push them into 5th and 6th places respectively. The lead gap was 0.8 of a second. It's now, over a second. It's now less than a second because the fastest lap of the race has gone to Kevin Brent. 1:28.163 closes the gap by a tenth, or just less than a tenth of a second, as Coburn Evans now loses out to Stuart Simmons, and Christian Young is sideways again, doing his best to hurl it at the scenery in this final race of the season. Obviously doesn't want that car for next year, does he? That's dropped him off the back of this trio of cars now. Though Stuart Simmons really wants to get past Ivan Leary here and get away with the leaders if he can. Goes up the inside into the old hairpin, and I think he's going to go through. Got a car off at Redgate, that's number 16, that is Matt Pickford, who's gone off. Ding in the door, but whether that was from this race or another one, it's hard to tell. Coburn Evans holds off, so gets past Ivan Leary as well. So 2 places locked for Ivan Leary there. Then Simmons made the move stick, and then Coburn Evans followed him through the claims towards Coppice. What sort of lap times does Stuart Simmons put in now? He was already, though, a good 5 seconds away from the race leader at start of the lap, though. That's a big ask. If he can bridge the gap to Courtney Mills, who's in 3rd, he can get on the podium. 4 3/4 minutes still to go, so still some laps to go in this one. Now towards the chicane then. Christian Young here defending hard from the 107 car of Sam Bailey. Sam Bailey, who started 11th on the grid. So made good progress into 8th place. Leaders have gone back through though. The gap comes down to 7/10 now. Another fastest lap for Kevin Brent, 1:27.202. So again, a couple of tenths, just over a couple of tenths quicker than Richard Collins, the leader. Here comes Sam Bailey around the outside of Christian Young into Redgate corner. That's for 7. No, gets the cut back on the exit maybe. No, Christian will just about hang on, but he seems slower than those cars behind him. Down through the crane of curves then. Tightening up at the head of the field then. Another fastest lap for Kevin Brent. 2 in a row he's done now. With still just under 4 minutes to go. He's got time here to catch Richard Collins and find a way back past him. Down to the old hairpin. Through Starkey's. Bridge no longer there, but the corner still known by its original name. And through Schwantz into McLean's. This is a possible overtaking opportunity, but it's hard to do. There's Stuart Simmons now. On that lap, he was a tenth quicker than Courtney Mills in front of him. There were lots of overtakes involved in that. Now he's in clean air. Look at the way he's raced away from Coburn Evans and Ivan Leary. Makes you wonder what might have happened if Simmons had been able to get into the A race for this final race of the weekend, doesn't it? And the back straight. Hands out of the cockpit there for somebody. Who was that? That was the Lawson, was it, in the 21 with his hand out of the cockpit. One of those 4 cars had their hand out of the cockpit going down the back straight. Lead gap meanwhile goes up that time by 4 tenths to 9 tenths. And the fastest lap goes to Stuart Simmons. Stuart Simmons is flying in 4th place. He's got the lead, well, he's got the gap to Mills down to 1.1, but he's only 2.5 away from the race lead. And on that lap, he took 1.4 seconds out of the race leader. So he could get there, you know, if he can get past Mills quickly and get after Brent, he could yet challenge for the race win here with 2.5 minutes to go. It's a big ask. He will have to hope that they start falling over each other in front of him. The gap between 2nd and 3rd actually came down that time. Mills to Brent is only half a second now. Ooh, big moment going down through the Graham through the old hairpin there, sorry, from number 99, Patrick Collins. Here are the leaders though, and look how close they all are. Courtney Mills has caught Kevin Brent, but they've all been caught by Stuart Simmons. Mills gets 2 wheels on the dirt, coming out of McLean's. Richard Collins, I think, is being caught again on this lap, because that's not 9/10 of a second, is it, between the top two? And we're going to go on to the penultimate lap this time, so 2 laps to go. Stuart Simmons can do this, you know. 4th place, he's right with Courtney Milnes as they go down the back straight, down towards the final chicane, where when they exit the corner, we will see who in the race lead. It should still be Richard Collins, I'd imagine. We check back in with the Coburn Evans, Ivan Leary, and Christian Young and Sam Smith battle. I'll look out the window and see that, yes, it's still Collins leading. It's still the same order for the top 4, but Stuart Simmons is right on their tail now in 4th place. That lap again, he was the only man into the 1:26. He now goes to the inside of Courtney Milnes for 3rd place at Redgate, and he's going to make it stick, I think, as long as he doesn't run wide on the exit, which he does, sort of. Well, Courtney Milnes takes to the grass to get the switch back. They run side by side down through Hollywood, and he's back ahead. Courtney Milnes has gone back ahead of the 88 car of Stuart Simmons. Simmons fights back though and carves his way back through the left-hander at the Crane of Curves, but that lost him quite a lot of time. So has he now got time to get back up to the leaders? I don't think the last lap board went out that time, did it? It was touch and go, actually, whether they'd have had time to get back round again. Oh, a spin at Redgate for car number 25, that's Ivan Leary. So Ivan Leary is spun from 6th place, unfortunately, at Redgate. There's the race leader, Richard Collins. He dips 2 wheels onto the dirt. The lead gap did come down to half a second that time, by the way, and here comes Simmons. Simmons is really wheeling them in now. It's going to be 3 for the lead by the time we get to the end of this lap, which should be the penultimate lap of the race. We should get 1 more lap after this one. So, Richard Collins, Kevin Brent, or Stuart Simmons could still win the race. I don't think Courtney Milnes has the pace to run with them. Look, he's dropping back, but Stuart Simmons is easily the quickest man on the track. He's carved his way through from, they started 6th, but he was about 9th on the first lap. Down towards back end of the top 10, but as we start the final lap of the race, it is Richard Collins leading the way, but Kevin Brent is right there with him, goes to the outside, goes back to the inside. Collins moves across to cover, and watch for Stuart Simmons. Where does Simmons go in all of this? In 3rd place, he's on the outside line now. He's going to carry all the momentum in the world out of the corner. A wide run out of the corner for Richard Collins, tries to come across and defend from Kevin Brent and manages it, but Simmons is trying to draw alongside the 41 machine down the hill. 3 cars absolutely together for the race win, and it looks like Simmons is going to go into 2nd place. He does, and now he's attacking Richard Collins for the lead. Goes on the inside, wheel on the grass. What a move and what a race from Stuart Simmons. Collins gets sideways and loses the lead and loses touch with the leader, crucially. He's now fighting for 2nd with Kevin Brent. Kevin Brent moves back through into the 2nd position, but it will be Stuart Simmons who has the race lead. What a sensational race this has been from Stuart. What a way to round out the Mazda MX-5 Championship. If anything, it's been even better than the A race was. Up towards Coppice Corner then, just keep it on the road now, Stuart, and you're on your way to a race win. I don't know if he's won a race this year, it's a B race, Stuart Simmons, but certainly he's on his way to a victory here. Brent is 2nd, Collins is 3rd, Courtney Milnes is catching them in 4th place, look, but I don't think he's quite got time to get there. Down towards the final turn they come then, the last corner of the season. Do they keep it clean? Does Collins go for a move on the inside? No, he doesn't, so Kevin Brent should hold on to 2nd place. Always a bit close from Think though, because he's slow out of the final chicane. Collins gets sideways as well, but it is a race win, a fantastic race win for Stuart Simmons. 2nd place goes the way of Kevin Brent, Kevin Brent. Collins is 3rd and Milnes is 4th. John Coburn Evans, I think, will be 5th, but he's heading a massive pack of cars as well. It's Collins ahead of Smith, ahead of Young, ahead of Collins, number 99 Collins, that's Patrick Collins. Then this group, which has got to sort themselves out, that is the 75 car of Bruce Carter, who is 9th, Lindsay is 10th, then Lawson, Colby, Green, Knight and Westgate round out the top 15. Oh, and off has gone the other go for a racing car, that's car number 160, Chris Mills, who's got off at the last corner. What a race from Stuart Simmons to move through and take the victory with a stunning pair of moves. Around the outside through Hollywood and inside through Crane of Curves to get 2nd away from Kevin Brent, and then up the inside of Richard Collins at the old hairpin with a wheel on the grass. Absolutely cracking racing that from Stuart Simmons, and he had the fastest lap to boot as well, 1:26.014. Well, that was a fantastic race from the Mazda MX-5 Championship. They're going to be much missed over the winter. Look forward to seeing what they can do next year. And grids continue to grow, they continue to get more competitive as well. And it's a fantastic series to watch. It's no wonder it's such a real fan favourite. Absolutely cracking racing out from Stuart Simmons, and he had the fastest lap to boot. So let's take a look at the result of that race then. And it was a race win for Stuart Simmons. Kevin Brent 1.4 seconds back at the flag. That does not tell the story. Richard Collins 3rd, Courtney Milnes 4th, John Coburn Evans 5th, Sam Bailey 6th, Christian Young 7th, Pat Collins in 8th, Brian Carter 9th, and Russell Lindsay 10th. Henry Lawson 11th, Graham Colby 12th, Danny Green 13th, Matt Simonite 14th, Alex Westgate 15th, Joseph Nahurai is 16th, Anthony Hutchins 17th, Ivan Leary after that spin is only 18th, Ambrogio Perfetti is 19th, and Ian McDonald rounds out the top 20. Mills was 21st, Roman Sarazan recovered from his race 1 crash to finish 22nd, Simon Orange was off in the gravel at the start, Nick Riley, Matt Pick and Alex Saw all failed to finish.
Sandy, let me know when I'm offline so I can change my battery.
So, the penultimate race of the day is done, but stick around because we've got one more race coming your way for the Honda VTEC Challenge. Incorporated with Smart for 2 Cup. They put on a fantastic race in the first encounter earlier on today. That will round out the season for BRSCC as far as their racing programme is concerned. Well, they've got the Brands Hatch Formula Ford Festival actually in a few weeks' time. Will be a BRSCC run event, but the majority of the championships rounding out here at Donington Park. So one more race coming your way, 15 minutes of the Honda VTEC Challenge. We'll be up in a few minutes. Earlier on today, that will round out the season for BRSCC as far as their racing programme is concerned. Well, they've got the Brands Hatch Formula Ford Festival actually in a few weeks' time. Will be a BRSCC run event, but the majority of the championships rounding out here at Donington Park. So one more race coming your way, 15 minutes of the Honda VTEC Challenge. We'll be up in a few minutes. Earlier on today, that will round out the season for BRSCC as far as their racing programme is concerned. Well, they've got the Brands Hatch Formula Ford Festival actually in a few weeks' time. Will be a BRSCC run event, but the majority of the championships rounding out here at Donington Park. So one more race coming your way, 15 minutes of the Honda VTEC Challenge. We'll be up in a few minutes. Is concerned. Well, they've got the Brands Hatch Formula Ford Festival actually in a few weeks' time. Will be a BRSCC run event, but the majority of the championships rounding out here at Donington Park. So one more race coming your way, 15 minutes of the Honda VTEC Challenge. We'll be up in a few minutes. So here we go then, the last race of the weekend here at the BRSCC Finals weekend is about to get underway, and this is the second race for the Honda VTEC Challenge, incorporating the Smart for 2 Cup. First race was won by Stuart Hutchinson, and that sets the grid for this one as well. So here we go then, the last race of the weekend here at the BRSCC Finals weekend is about to get underway. So the the race results from the first race set the grid for this one. Hutchinson won it, Bennett was second, Honda Integra. Hutchinson, the Honda S2000, Mark Bennett, who were the top two. We had a great back and third between Steve Barden, Paul Donkin, Matt Walker. Stuart King was even in there as well. So we had a great scrap, and that is the result there. So Hutchinson with the win, he sets the pole for this one. Mark Bennett alongside him, Steve Barden and Paul Donkin row 2. Matt Walker, Stuart King row 3, Jeff Cooper, Ryan Foe in row 4. Row 5 is Will Watkin, Peter Dunmore, Paula Webb and Tony Markham row 6. Row 7, Darren Smee and Neil Rem. Row 8, Martin Kemp and right. Then Simon Horriban is the first of the smart cars, Alan Palmer alongside him, David Nash and Martin Clackworth in row 2, James Palmer, Simon Coverdale row 3, Alistair Woodhead and Greg Owens row 4. So 8 smart cars, they start a little bit behind the rest of the field, and they are quite a considerable bit slower, and that comes into play as well because they get lapped and they, I don't want to say get in the way of the quicker cars, but they just can't get out of the way of the quicker cars sometimes, and that can affect the race. It's a multi-class race again, so we'll try and tell you about who is leading the various classes as we go through. The production class, the super tuner class and the tuner class. The tuner class cars of Stuart Hutchinson and Mark Bennett, who were top 2 in the first race. Then Steve Barden and Paul Donkin were 3rd and 4th. They're the 2 red Civics on your screen now. They were both in the production class, and then 5th place Matt Walker was in the super tuner class. So all 5 classes, all 3 classes represented in the top 3. Of course, the smart cars run to a class of their own. First race, we saw Mark Bennett make a storming start. Remember, that Honda S2000 is rear-wheel drive, whereas the Integra Type R of Viper Hutchinson is front-wheel drive. So rear-wheel drive tracking off the line should work well for Mark Bennett. But can he pull it off this time? Then Barden and Donkin in their very similar Honda Civics on row 2. They'll be evenly matched. Walker, Stuart King, row 3. Row 4, headed by Jeff Cooper. He made a good start in the first race as well. And so Jeff will be trying to leap up the order if he can. Off the line again. Watch for Matt Walker as well, the white number 10 Civic on the inside of row 3. It's good to see we have got Mark Kemp out there, or Martin Kemp as it is now, I think, in the 69 car. It might be, no, it is Mark. It is Mark back in the car again for this one. Car number 68. The ex-BTCC Honda Civic, which had contact, unfortunately, with Phil Wright on the first lap of the first race. So hopefully they'll stay away from each other this time. Right, green flag waved at the back of the grid. We are more or less ready to go with the Honda VTEC Challenge. The red lights go on, they go out now, and it's another very good start from Mark Bennett from the outside of the front row, but here comes Stuart Hutchinson trying to fight back as they unleash the power down towards Redgate Corner. Inside line for Hutchinson, outside for Bennett. Meanwhile, it's Donkin that's got into 3rd place ahead of Barden. Hutchinson holds on to the race lead though. 2nd place for Bennett, then 3rd place for Donkin, 4th is Barden, and 5th place I think might be Jeff Cooper, who made another storming start. Yes, it is, and he's now going for 4th place as Donkin goes for 2nd on Mark Bennett, but can't make it stick down through the crane of curves. Careful on cold rear tyres here for the front wheel drive cars in particular, through the crane of curves and the old hairpin. They all tippy-toe their way through with no major dramas though. They're through the 10 car of Matt Walker just in front of Stuart King. Those who started together on the 3rd row, they both dropped down behind the fast starting Jeff Cooper there. Leaders at McLean's for the first time then. Hutchinson leads the way, Bennett 2nd. There's the attack for 3rd place from Barden, trying to go around the outside of Paul Donkin into the right-hander. They're still wheel to wheel. Donkin on the inside, Barden on the outside. and Bardin just can't get through there, so has to try and cut back and get a run in the slipstream, maybe down the exhibition straight. He's cut back to the inside, but no, Donkin stays in front, and now he has to watch his mirrors because Jeff Cooper is there, look, in the CRZ. He gets up alongside Bardin as they run down towards the Robert chicane, but doesn't quite have the power, does he? Bardin's late on the brakes, goes on the inside of Paul Donkin, great move. Third place then again for Steve Bardin. Donkin down to fourth. Across the line, Donkin's trying to fight back though. They run wheel to wheel down towards turn one, and here comes Mark Kemp. Look, Mark Kemp is flying through the order. Jeff Cooper's going to make it 3 abreast for second, fourth, third place though into Redgate. Backs out of it, so it's just Bardin and Donkin side by side again, and Donkin has to settle in behind. Cooper now buys back into it, gets alongside Paul as they run down through Hollywood as he made that one stick. Then wheel to wheel, but the inside line is held for the next corner by Paul Donkin, so he sweeps back through. Yeah, Mark Kemp crossed that first lap, crossed the line that first lap in 9th place. He is making very good progress from his 15th place starting position towards Swans and McLean's for the second time in this race. Mark Bennett there, he goes sweeping through the corner. Jeff Cooper in his CRZ, quick in certain parts of the circuit, just lacks a bit of top end speed, I think. To Coppice. Cooper takes tighter lines in that car. It does handle very well, the CRZ. Cooper is really in the Super Tuner class. He's the top Super Tuner class car, but Walker in the white Civic is second in the class, and so Cooper's eager to get a car between himself and Walker, which he does now because he gets past Paul Donkin into the braking zone at the chicane. It's a 4th place overall, but more importantly, one car between himself and his nearest class rival. Remember, there are no points scored in these races. It's not a championship, it's a series of races, so it's just a straight race. No points and championship battles to worry about. Here comes car number 67. That's the two Kemps are now together. 67 is Martin Kemp, and 68 is Mark Kemp, and they're now running through the field together in their two, like I said, ex-BTCC Honda Civics. The white one there in 8th place, that is the one that's just set the fastest lap. That is number 67, Martin Kemp. There he goes then, sweeping up towards now the back of the top 5 cars. So depending on how quickly he and his brother can get through this little group, he may or may not be able to challenge for a race leader. The race leaders on that far on the road. There are the race leaders, Stephen Hutchinson and Mark Bennett. Top 2 in the race in race 1 in this order, with about this gap between them at the end of the race as well. Incidentally, the smart cars being led by Simon Horribly again by 5 seconds over Palmer, so that's fairly spaced out at the moment. Leaders back with us, and Hutchinson leads the way. Bennett is second. Third place is Bardin, but here comes Martin Kemp for 4th place. Kemp's going around the outside of Jeff Cooper. He's got him, so he's already gone past Donkin somewhere. He now gets past Jeff Cooper into 4th as they cross the line. Sets the fastest lap of the race again, does Martin Kemp, 1:18.439. So keep an eye on Martin Kemp, the white with number 67 car in 4th place. He's now catching Steve Bardin for 3rd, and I think he'll be about to get through probably. There's Mark Bennett down his gold hairpin. What's happening in 3rd place? He hasn't got him just yet. Parker's getting out of the way. Oh, and Jeff Cooper's gone off. Jeff Cooper's gone off at Redgate into the gravel trap, and remarkably manages to dig his way out of there. Reverses onto the escape road and gets away with it. Mark Bennett suddenly has caught the race leader Steve Hutchinson, so again we've got one of those races where you don't really know where to look. There's Martin Kemp going for 3rd, gets to the inside of Steve Bardin. That'll be a fairly easy pass into Coppice corner, and now he'll set off after the race leaders with still only a third of the race gone in this 15-minute race, 9 minutes and 50 to go. This race is 5 minutes shorter than the rest of the races we've had today. It's 15 minutes as opposed to the traditional 20. Down into Robert chicane. Martin Kemp, but the car slows down coming out of the chicane, and Martin Kemp loses out to Steve Bardin, and he's coming into the pit lane. He is. Martin Kemp's car, they're very quick, these Civics, these ex-BTCC Civics, but they do tend to brake quite a lot, unfortunately. That now means that Mark Kemp is the sole Kemp in the race. There he is, heading through into Redgate. So that now means that Donkin goes back into 4th, Kemp goes back into 5th, King is now 6th, Walker 7th, Watkin 8th. And then 9th for Wright, and 10th place for number 99, Ryan Vogt. Marketing Kemp heading through the front curve section of the racetrack. Doesn't seem to quite have the pace with brother, does he? So not able to really carve his way through the order like the other car did. Lead gap meanwhile was 1 second at the start of this lap. This is the 5th lap of the race, and that's still fairly tight between Hutchinson and Bennett. Well amongst the smart car traffic now, which they will lap twice probably in the race. That's a slow car, that's number 99, Ryan Vogt. He was running in 10th place ahead of Dunmore, who's gone through. So Dunmore now gets into the top 10. That was a couple of plays where he had a moment. It was a smart car with the pit length as well. Try and keep an eye out for who that was. It pulls in front of me. But Mark Kemp now has caught Paul Donkin. Can he get through though? He said the done. The smart car that came in was James Carway, who was running second in class, but he won't get any more because he's into the pit lane. Aaron Smee here having a good fight with the recovering Vogt. Just the inside of him into Redgate. That puts him back into the top 10 now, 10th place for Vogt, and Aaron Smee drops down to 11th place. Running second in class. Still they go. Behind them, something of a little battle actually. That's the Wren, Webb, and Markham scrap. Paul Webb, Tony Markham doing the pink and black cars. Paul Webb ahead of Tony. Through Starkeys as well. Gap. Oh, now the lead gap was coming back down again. Yes, the leaders are absolutely together now. Mark Bennett and Stephen Hutchinson going up towards Redgate Corner. The first turn is where the leaders are, and they were 3/10 of a second apart, so 2/10 of a second apart at the start of the lap. So Hutchinson and Bennett getting themselves back together again. Heading down through the crater curves now, the top two, so they're out of my sight. There they are, and Bennett's going forward at the inside into the old hairpin, but no, can't make it stick. So Hutchinson holds on, but Mark Bennett making a real race of this again. Like in the first race, it took him a little while to get going. Now we often hear that rear-wheel drive cars, they take a bit longer to get heat into the tyres. These cars do run on slick tyres, so that might have been the issue then for Mark Bennett. He's now up to speed, and in traffic he's a bit quicker as well. So 0.232 of a second was the gap at the start of the lap. Up through Coppice they go. Mark Bennett in the S2000, Steve Hutchinson in the Honda Integra Type R. To be more precise, it's a Type R B18. It's a very highly modified Civic type, Integra Type R. Brakes into the chicane, almost slides the rear of the car into the corner, but then Mark Bennett was a bit too deep on the brakes as well. 5.5 minutes to go, so approaching 2/3 race distance. And they streak across the line, this time with 3/4 of a second between them. But that was because of a couple of little mistakes there for Bennett. I do think he's got the pace to go for it here. Hutchinson second place, Barden is still third, Kemp is now fourth, but not really closing in all that drastically. Only took 3/10 out of Barden that time. Well, 5.5 minutes to go. So down through the crater curves into the old hairpin. Through Starkeys now, so again we get a good look here at where the cars are strong and where they have strengths, where they have weaknesses. That's always fascinating to watch when you've got two cars both in the same class but with completely different characteristics. The front-wheel drive front-engined Integra, the mid-engined rear-wheel drive S2000. And you can see through the corners the S2000 has an edge, and through the tight corners, particularly not the arm end at Donington Park, the rear-wheel drive traction will help it. Mark Bennett to close in and into the chicane at the end of the lap. Noses dip under braking. Stunning looking car with Integra. Even Hutchinson isn't it, but the very tight machine as well. A scratch on that silver car across the line. Then gap was 0.74. Well, it's now 0.749. It came It went up by 4 1,000ths of a second that time. They both set their personal best laps of the race. 1:19.331 for Hutchinson, 3:35 for Bennett. Just under 4 minutes to go. Back in a lot further down the order with the 99 car. That is Foat, who's recovering from that moment. And he's catching Dunmore quite quickly. Dunmore there in the black and green car. Peter Dunmore from Bury St Edmunds. Oh, who goes off? Peter Dunmore goes off at the chicane, so that was made easier for Foat, wasn't it? In fact, is Dunmore going to come into the pit lane? Thought about it, but I think he's just got dirt on his tyres and gravel spilling out of the car, so he'll just take his time to get back up to speed again after that. So that was an adventurous line. Darren Smee now closed in on him. Then we've got the 29 car there of Wren. And some of the smart cars coming through. Oh, who goes off? There is the Markham and Webb. Vice. Webb still ahead of Markham for the time being. They make their way down onto the Crane Curve. Under 3 minutes in this race. And the leaders come through with a big gap between them now. So Steve Hutchinson's pulled out all of a sudden a 3.1 second lead over Mark Bennett, who was a couple of seconds, 2.5 seconds slower that time. Had a sluggish lap, did Mark. Not entirely sure why. It must have been traffic. They were in a lot of traffic coming out of the chicane. So that gap really shot up then. Arden third, Kemp fourth, Donkin fifth. Just crossing the line now in 6th place, so still having a solid run, but there is Steve Hutchinson. 2 minutes and 15 left on the clock now. Two flags being waved vigorously by the marshals to let the back markers know the leaders are coming. There's Mark Bennett, you just caught a glimpse of him in the background. There. Wait and wait. Third place man, Steve Barden, who's quite some way back. How's Folk getting on? Is he caught right yet? No, he's not going to be 15.5 seconds behind. So, 9th place is as high as Brian Folk is going to get. Everything you see was fairly well settled. Now we're about to go on to the penultimate lap of the race. 2 more laps to go. We managed 11 laps in the first race. We're going to do the same again in race 2. Oh, that marker's getting in the way of Hutchinson again though, and Mark Bennett closes back in, so this one ain't over yet. Gap comes back down to just 7/10 that time. Lights ablaze now, it's getting rather dark and gloomy here at Donington Park. The cameras, as ever, make it look a bit brighter than it actually is. Trust me, it's getting rather dark here now. Bennett gets 2 wheels on the grass. Maybe you can use that as an excuse for exceeding the track limits. Pretty sure that won't work, but it's not really helping his speed either because he lost traction down through the Crane curves as a result. There's tyre smoke there as he leans on the right-hand side tyre through the Crane curves, but that worked because he closed right in on Hutchinson through there. That is part of the circuit that will suit the rear-wheel drive S2000, and the opener taps up the hill and the Integra just pulls away ever so slightly again. Lap and a half to go then. More traffic ahead. That could come into play. Dependent on where they catch it, it was smart car, and they're going to catch it just at one of the worst points through Coppice Corner, although it should get out of the way on the exit actually. They got away with that one pretty easily. Oh no, it does get in the way of Steve Hutchinson. Look, and Bennett now is all over him heading onto the back straight. They're almost overlapping, heading towards the chicane. In fact, they are overlapping, and Mark Bennett's giving this a real go now. Is he brave enough to go around the outside? No. He's going to hope that Hutchinson runs too deep on the inside line. Oh, he's a bit scruffy through the corner. Bennett will carry more speed onto the pit straight. The last lap board goes out. One more lap of racing today at Donington Park, and we're going to have another real nail-biting end to the race, aren't we, with Hutchinson? Steve Hutchinson just 0.3 of a second ahead of Mark Bennett, who goes up the inside into Redgate and takes the lead. Does he go wheel to wheel through the corner? Mark Bennett really trying to squeeze his way through. Watch for the traction on the exit of the corner. Wheel to wheel again down through the Crane curves, where we know Bennett is strong, and this is a part of the circuit that really suits the S2000, but Stephen Hutchinson keeps him at bay. Fantastic stuff. Bennett tries to get to the inside into the old hairpin. Is he brave enough to make that one stick? No, not quite enough room on the inside. That was sensible to back out of that, because that would have almost certainly ended in contact. We've seen that already a few times today. So, where is his next opportunity? Maybe not through McLean's, but up through Coppice. If he can force Hutchins to defend, he's going to have a go at McLean's anyway. Look, takes a tight inside line, just trying to distract Steve Hutchins. He certainly looks quicker, doesn't he, in this late portion of the race. Again, a rear-wheel drive car will look after its tyres slightly better. That may be coming into play too. through right-hander onto the back straight for the final time. And has Stephen Hutchinson done enough to hold on, or can Mark Bennett throw one last attack at him down into the final chicane? I'm not sure he's quite close enough, but he is closing in the slipstream. Pulls to the inside, late on the brakes for both of them. Hutchinson goes in very, very deep on the brakes, but I think he'll be able to hang on. Stephen Hutchinson, after a fantastic final couple of laps, will win the final race of the weekend here at Donington Park, the Honda VTEC Challenge. Second place goes to Mark Bennett, just 4 tenths behind at the flag. Third place should be Steve Barden. Yep, here he comes after he got the better of Paul Donkin earlier on. Mark Kemp will come through in 4th, 5th place for Paul Donkin. 6th position will go to Stuart King eventually. Then 7th place for Watkin, 8th for Wright, 9th for Foat, and 10th for Dunmore. Watching car 100 come through here. This is Watkin, who's going to finish 7th place and is the 3rd placed tuner car. Hutchinson wins the tuner class, Barden wins the production class, and Mark Kemp wins the super tuner class. Will go to Stuart King eventually. Stuart Hutchinson then completes the 12 laps, 4 tenths of a second quicker than Mark Bennett could complete them, and that's all it came down to really. Absolutely fantastic race though, and Mark Bennett, you get the feeling, given another couple of laps, might have been able to find a way past actually. So close. And Mark Kemp with no cigar in the end, so Hutchinson it is with the win. The stragglers still coming across the line now. That rounds out the day in style. It was another typically exciting race. Donington Park really does produce some fantastic racing. The National or the Grand Prix layout that they use here from time to time at Donington both produce some of the best racing you'll see anywhere in the country. So do get yourself down to a Donington Park race meeting. Club meeting, one of their headline events. Keep checking their website over the winter and find out what the dates are later in the year. There's a stage rally here in a couple of weeks then. Well worth coming along to as well. So back towards the pit lane come the top 5. They're all the top 5 cars. That's quite a nice shot of them all, isn't it? Let's have a look at the results though. And it is Stuart Hutchinson who wins the race. Mark Bennett is 2nd, Steve Barden is 3rd, Martin Kemp 4th, Paul Donkin 5th, Stuart King 6th, Will Watkins 7th, Will Wright 8th, Ryan Folk 9th, and Peter Dunmore 10th. Neil Wren is 11th, Paula Webb 12th, Tony Markham 13th, then cars a lap down, Darren Smee 14th, Simon Horrobin 15th, he wins the smart class ahead of Alan Palmer in 2nd, then Greg Owens, David Nash, Simon Coverdale and Martin Crackworth in the smart cars. As was Alistair Woodhead. Matt Walker was a retirement, so too was Mark Kemp, James Palmer and Jeff Cooper. He went off at Red Gate. So that rounds out what has been a very busy but a hugely enjoyable weekend of racing here at Donington Park. I do hope you've enjoyed the live stream. Good to see that so many of you have been tuning in to keep an eye on it and see what's been going on over the course of the day, and you've been treated to some fantastic racing. It just goes to show how strong the club level motorsport scene is here in the UK. So a thoroughly enjoyable day. Check the BRSCC website for confirmation of results and championship results as well over the coming days, and your TV timetables as well to find out when most of these races, all the races that we're on today, will be filmed and out on TV in the next few weeks. Keep an eye out for that one. My thanks go out to the marshals as well, because without them we couldn't go motor racing. They've had a lot to do. Rather chilly weather today as well, so can't say enough about those. The clerk of the course, timekeepers, championship coordinators as well, all the people who help put these race meetings together. Thanks very much to them. Thanks to AJK TV for doing a great job with the production of this live stream. But for now, from me, Andy McEwen, it's thank you and goodbye. My thanks go out to the marshals as well, because without them we couldn't go motor racing. They've had a lot to do. Rather chilly weather today as well, so can't say enough about those. The clerk of the course, timekeepers, championship coordinators as well, all the people who help put these race meetings together. Thanks very much to them. Thanks to AJK TV for doing a great job with the production of this live stream. But for now, from me, Andy McEwen, it's thank you and goodbye. My thanks go out to the marshals as well, because without them we couldn't go motor racing. They've had a lot to do. Rather chilly weather today as well, so can't say enough about those. The clerk of the course, timekeepers, championship coordinators as well, all the people who help put these race meetings together. Thanks very much to them. Thanks to AJK TV for doing a great job with the production of this live stream. But for now, from me, Andy McEwen, it's thank you and goodbye. My thanks go out to the marshals as well, because without them we couldn't go motor racing. They've had a lot to do. Rather chilly weather today as well, so those, the clerk of course, timekeepers, championship coordinators as well, all the people who help put these race meetings together. Thanks very much to them. Thanks to AJK TV for doing a great job